Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Luckycast. I'm your host, DeoxysPrime, and joining me on this edition of the podcast, we got Frank.
What's up?
We got Mule.
Hello.
I'm just gonna let this awkward silence go a bit longer.
Yo, what the fuck?
We got Matt.
Hi.
We got Collin.
I still haven't changed my opinion on anime.
Cool. We got Kenny.
Yo.
And we got Funk.
I just want to say that Mule's bit of not saying anything was clever for him. It was...
Well, gentlemen and Mule, today is the big day.
Finally, we've been hyping the big day up all year.
I know Kenny's excited.
Yeah, thrilled.
Kenny's our big day stalwart.
If you don't know what the big day is, that means that this is the end of the year in review 2015 podcast for anime.
Might I point out that it's currently January 4th. So, yeah.
So it's the beginning of the year.
Ended last week, and why are you gonna be such a fucking sourpuss, Kenny?
Yeah, man. The Oscars don't even happen till March.
Yeah, dude, chill.
Are we holding ourselves to the Oscars standards?
We are now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
we're basically on par.
Didn't Collin compare Prison School to an Academy Award-winning film?
That's true. I gotta stick by that now.
Yeah, that's what you can expect in this podcast. So basically, the way this is gonna work is in the later half of the episode, we're gonna do our end of the year picks.
Latter half. Yes,
we got a bunch of categories that we're gonna go through, and everyone's gonna give their picks, and then we're all gonna argue about them. But before we get there, we're gonna do a kind of miscellaneous section here, where we're gonna talk about anime that people maybe not have gotten a chance to talk about in an earlier podcast this year, or if there's just stuff that doesn't fit in anywhere, like Mule and his fucking Yu-Gi-Oh talk. But we will. But before we get to any of that, I'm as host, I'm gonna abuse my powers as I often do, and I'm gonna talk about the first show in this section. And that's because I have a secret show I've been watching over the past few days.
Dun dun dun!
This is all about secret shows, and mine was Osomatsu-san.
Oh my god!
That was the reaction I was hoping for.
Jeez, well, Steve, why don't you open the floor here and tell us your thoughts? We are anxiously awaiting them.
So I don't know if I'm gonna have much to say about this. I think it's okay. It may disappoint you guys, but I just think it's okay.
That's good with me.
For whatever reason, the humor just didn't kind of click with me as much as it seemingly does for you guys. I think maybe the weirdest problem with this show, and I don't know if you guys really touched on it much in the last podcast, but how fucking amazing the first episode of that show is, to the point where it will never be seen by human eyes ever again. But the first episode of Osomatsu-san is my favorite episode, and it's kind of disappointing because nothing else as of yet has lived up to that.
Well, the Christmas episode has a little bit of that.
I was gonna say the episode today, the new episode, is that's my second favorite episode of the show. It was a really good episode today.
Today's episode directly addressed a lot of fan responses to the show.
Oh my god. It was so good.
Yeah, and that's kind of a point I did want to bring up with you, because the first episode, for people who don't know, is not getting a release on Blu-ray because of copyright problems. And we found out that apparently Japan does not have protection for parody in their copyright laws.
Which is a load of shit.
Yeah, it is. It's fucking bullshit. And the third episode is going to get edited as well, a few segments in that.
Is that the one where they did the Saw thing and then Dekapon kept getting shot? That one?
Yes, that is that same.
I was gonna bring that up because, one of the reasons I love the first episode so much is it's such a brilliant parody, and they seemingly have backed off the parodies as the show has gone on, which I guess could be as a result of kind of the.
I'm not entirely sure that was a direct result of that. I think maybe the first episode was the ideal one to do those parodies because it's about whether or not Osomatsu can thrive in the current anime landscape.
Yeah.
And you can't do 24 episodes of anime parody.
No,
like, I don't think
no.
there's enough material there.
But I guess my point was just that it did parody so well that it's a bit disappointing that they haven't gone back to that as much.
Maybe there's just not more ideas in that well.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like this show has some of the strongest character banter you could possibly ask for in a show.
Yeah.
Like every voice actor is so fucking great in their role. And obviously, it might take you a little bit to get used to who's who. But once you do, they're instantly recognizable by their voice. And it's just
that's
great.
not much of it. The only ones I've ever had trouble confusing are Osomatsu and Shiromatsu.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Elder God tier of Osomatsu distinguishing ability.
Toromatsu doesn't have any hair strands.
But he has a very distinctive look to him.
Yeah.
With regards to his face.
Also, I recently realized that Osomatsu actually has his own unique visual indicator that the others don't. He's not just a base template. His mouth is slightly different from the rest.
Yeah, there's a lot of like nice details they put into, but it still does take a while. But that's not like an issue for me. I mean, again, I don't feel like this is a bad show by any means. It's just I don't know, this style of humor. Like I find it hit and miss.
You don't like
what did you just
comedy?
say? Wait, what did you just say?
I said I find it hit and miss.
Do you mean hit or miss?
No, I mean hit and miss.
I
I
think
know
he means hit and miss.
I know it fucking triggers you.
Has this happened before?
Oh yeah.
He's bitched about this before, deservedly so. It is stupid, but
What's kind of funny is that I'm probably the one who likes this show the most out of all of us, but I actually found the first episode a little worrisome for me because I felt like it was a little too much LOL so random humor, and it just felt like the jokes were so rapid fire at times that it just didn't even give you enough time to really let everything sink in, and for me it came off as a little like it was trying a little too hard, which I guess maybe was the point.
It only seemed to kind of become too rapid fire at the end when everything was falling apart, though.
I guess so. It's just I don't know.
I guess it worked for me from someone who can just like instantly recognize every trope and series they were parroting.
Yeah, I recognized most of them, but there were like the one thing that actually I didn't catch the first time was the Love Live thing.
But now you're an expert.
It was
now,
like one of the characters turned into Honker, didn't they?
Yes. And then they showed an image of like all of the Love Live characters as Osomatsu like things.
All the more reason for me not to watch this show.
That's the only time they ever reference.
I just want to mention the reason I picked this show up was so I could have more anime to watch, so I can steal the title of Late Animan from Kenny.
Oh my!
No.
God.
Let it be known that Steve has challenged me.
Oh no!
The gauntlet is thrown live on this pre-recorded podcast.
Steve, you realize there's like 100 days of anime between you two, right?
I mean, it's not catching up to the total. It's just like in terms of this year. I plan to watch more anime than Kenny this year.
Let me know
Here
that
we go. Oh my god!
Let me know that I'm about to finish rewatching Girls Zoom Panzer, like that I have been for like.
Hey, maybe
the
I should go
past
pick
couple
that
days.
back up again because I dropped it.
Yeah, because you're a piece of shit.
Anyways, I didn't want to spend the whole podcast talking about a show we already talked about. So, if one of you guys who have like secret shows you're holding on to want to talk about it, so that we can avoid the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh talk for as long as possible.
Can we take a quick second to explain what secret shows even are?
Please go ahead.
So, between podcasts, this is for the audience, of course. Between podcasts, we'll often communicate on Skype because we're friends and enjoy each other's company. And during that time, we'll discuss anime because that's really all we have to live for. But sometimes some people decide to be cheeky enough and watch a show in secret and not partake in discussion about it for the sole purpose of revealing that they did in fact watch this show on the podcast and getting the reaction you heard prior. So that's what a secret show is. It is as or more autistic than it sounds.
Well, I no longer have any secret shows. I have played my hand as of last night. So I believe I'll be talking about all of these shows at some point in the podcast.
Like
Although
the awards section.
Yes, the awards section. Although I'm betting on Funk to initiate discussion of one, so don't blow it because it's not actually getting any awards from me.
I swear to God, if you're referring to Shirobako, I'm gonna lose it.
As long as you lose it on the podcast, that's all that matters.
It is indeed Shirobako, and
Can we just talk about this right now? Like what problem you had with the show?
So let's back up here. Last night I fought tooth and nail with Steve regarding discussing anime on the Year in Review podcast that started in fall of 2014 and finished in winter of 2015. I felt that we had a right to discuss these sorts of shows.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
You're not even drunk.
Yeah, we had a right to discuss these shows and that they should be allowed to be given awards if we felt the need. And then I revealed that none of my shows were actually shows that aired in fall of 2014 and then finished in winter of 2015.
Which
mine are, though, so thank you for asking.
And I pretty much argued entirely on behalf of Funk and Mule, who wanted to put Shirobako on their lists. And I have watched Shirobako, and I really liked Shirobako.
But it's not top 5? What is wrong with you?
But it's not top 5. Because this is 9 hours of content. And while there were certainly a couple of moments that really spoke to me, so obviously there's that big obvious one at the end where Aoi, is that how you say her name?
I don't remember. I watched this show
where Oi breaks down and cries.
What is she
where
doing?
Oi breaks down and cries when Suicide Watch finally gets to have her role on the anime.
Kenny, why are you sighing?
Then there's the other moment.
I'm just glad to know that there's someone else who cannot pronounce fucking shit in this podcast.
And
well,
then
everyone knows.
I set the standard for that.
And
well,
then there's
I'm
the other.
too.
Collin, go ahead.
And then there's the part where the other girl, who is the CG artist, has to make the decision between staying with the comfortable job that doesn't really feel fulfilling versus taking a riskier path that she might, if it pays off, she'll be a lot more fulfilled. I love that one. I'm surprised that she's kind of considered a main character because I'm pretty sure she has like under 10 minutes of screen time in the whole show. And then there's the third scene where the director and the writer of Aerial Girls have this connection. And it's sort of the climax of the show. And that was a great scene. But for the most part, this show never managed to be anything more than interesting to me. I really enjoyed learning about. It's not as we were discussing last night. It's somewhat romanticized, but not heavily so. It's certainly it's not a show that we would put in the comfy category, because you could see how stressful and down to the wire it gets for a lot of these people. It's not really a binge watch show either. I watched the show over the course of a month. Because it's not really something you just sit down and watch all 24 fucking episodes in a row. But it was a good show, but it's not top 5.
Can I counter that?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Offer a counter, rather?
Yeah.
So, for one, I agree that there are moments where the show hits a more inspirational tone, and those ring better in your memory than the other bits. But I think those are more frequently peppered throughout the show than you give credit for. They are. It's just a matter of the ones that spoke to me. But go ahead, keep going. All the ones that you mentioned take place in the latter half of the second core, the fourth quarter, if you will. But I think that, with the exception of maybe the first half of the first core, there's a bulk of those kind of moments, especially with the more auxiliary staff. like the one girl who's an animator, her relationship with the old man, the relationship. I don't remember what their actual positions were, but the one girl whose name is like Goth Wally. I don't know what
Yeah,
her
I
actual
believe
name
they were key
Glasses.
animators.
Well, she
Yes.
she in
And
the first series she was the main character artist.
Yes, you're right. She got promoted.
I do want to
then
note
the-
something.
The
Oh, go ahead.
flashback to the old studio when they were animating Andy's Chucky. But aside from that, how frequently those moments occur, I do think that the intervening moments, the more day to day, were entertaining enough. Then when you add in just the general interest or intrigue of seeing how the industry works to an extent, more than enough to kind of carry it between those more interesting moments.
Yeah. So there is one thing I want to know because you reminded me of something I really liked about it. Did not necessarily one that I was rended by, but I still really liked it because so many anime that are far more outlandish than Shirobako, which is very, very grounded. They seem to push this message that your life ends after high school and you're just going to be an unhappy mess, and then once you're 25 you're considered old, and also old people are useless and you should never send a man to do a boy's job. That's what anime usually teaches people. And Shirobako says, well, hold up there, Sonny, your elders are great and you have a lot to learn even in your 20s. And I like that aspect of it a lot. Between the girl Emmy and the older fellow who she worked with, the other key animator. I love that part.
Like when she's learning to draw a cat, I think.
No. That's well, I guess she is also an older animator, but I'm talking about the older man. The old man.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure the older man.
No, that's for the horses. That's for the horses.
Oh, the horses. Yeah, I know some animal.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cat is with the glasses girl.
Right.
But she's dealing with the anxieties.
Yes.
Collin,
One thing.
Colin, I have to ask. What did
Yes.
what did you think of the Emmy dance?
Shit posting.
It was.
Oh wait, that was from that show?
Yeah.
Yes.
It
That's
was
like the-
worth
oh,
3
God.
out of 4 cutes. Also, I want to note that all the girls in this show suffer from some pretty bad same face.
Well, they're the only ones who don't have realistic-ish looking faces.
Yes, all the men have different faces.
Yes.
And then the
All the
girls
girls
are love lives. They look like love lives, but they suffer from
Okay,
the
is the whole purpose of this podcast just to piss me off?
He figured it out.
So there were two things I wanted to say of Shirobako before we move on, because you're kind of dwelling on this. One is that in the last scene, when they're doing the wrap-up party, for some reason they give away a Sega Dreamcast. I found that strange. And two, that if anybody listening has not watched the show, I would recommend the show to literally anybody who pursues any kind of creative endeavor in their lives. I think it has value to watch. And I can't stress that enough. It is one of my absolute favorite series, even if Collin was not so hot on it.
No, I really liked
Relatively.
Funk will not accept anything less than this was the best anime of the year. So.
Well, I really liked it, and I would also recommend it to. I would give that exact same recommendation that Funk gave. So, I hope I'm not hated.
No,
Forever.
well, not
The
by
friendship,
me, but
the magic is gone. I'm no longer Funk's anime confidant.
No, I gave you shit about it, but I definitely respect your opinion, especially after hearing where it's derived from. So we're still buddies.
Great.
that's good to hear. Matt,
Uh-huh.
I know you've been watching a lot of stuff in preparation for this podcast because you only got on the anime watching train just last season.
Yeah, well,
so why don't you just pick a show that you really want to talk about and let's hear about it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't have any secret shows. I only watched a total of 7 shows this entire year because I just recently got on. And 4 of those shows I watched in a span of a week. one of which was Ori Monogatari. Okay, which is a 24 episodes show. And
That's great.
This, and I guess I'll just talk about that since this was probably like I typically hate romance. I'm not a romance person at all because it always seems very generic and stupid. But the way it's done in this show is very, very good and very perfect. Like, I think one of the things about this show that I like a lot is that every time there's some sort of drama in the show, it's not drawn out for a very long time. Like every single kind of, I guess, arc of the show, every single problem that comes up is solved either within an episode or within 2 episodes. And it's done very well, very gracefully, and it always keeps things very lighthearted and happy. And it's just an absolute joy to watch.
Would you say it avoids the problem, and I've heard other people say this about the show, so maybe you can confirm it. Does it avoid the problem of issues arising because of misunderstandings between characters?
Yes, it does. Misunderstandings are solved, like I said, misunderstandings are solved very, very quickly. Like,
yes.
the first 3 episodes of this show involves the main character, Takeo, who's like this big, like, gorilla-looking guy who has lived his whole life not having a girl ever since kindergarten. He's been friends with this super hot looking, like kind of generic,
he was hottest when he was a kindergartner.
Yeah.
It's all downhill.
His best friend is like this kind of...
He looks like a typical shoujo...
Pretty boy?
Bishonen, like, cute boy character, yeah. And, like, throughout his, this best friend of his, like, all the girls always go crazy over this guy. Suna is his name. But he always rejects them, and they always think he's so cool and mysterious because of that. But, like... Well, anyways, Takeo, so he always expects girls to fall for Suna. So he stops a groper from molesting this girl on a train, Takeo, and he falls in love with her, but then she comes over to thank him, and since Suna's there, and when Suna leaves, like, she, like, asks him, oh, you're leaving, like, he gets the impression that she likes Suna, but within 3 episodes, it turns out this girl, her name's Yamato, likes Takeo, actually, and Suna sets it up so that they both hear it, and so that they finally confess to each other. And yeah, so 3 episodes into the show, we already have our relationship going on,
and that relationship's gonna last forever.
Yes,
and
like
ever.
these 2 are fucking match made in heaven.
That's what they all say.
Look, Steve, I can handle your cynicism anywhere else. not with this. I think... Can I interject, Matt?
What?
Can I interject?
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things about the show is how well it captures just that feeling of being in, quote, new love.
Yeah.
So throughout the entirety of the show, whenever Takeo and Yamato are interacting with each other, Yamato does anything even remotely endearing. It just cuts to Takeo's inner thoughts of just saying that he loves her, just like blurting it out. And it's little things like that you actually feel when you're getting to know somebody in a relationship and it's going really well. It's like they just do some stupid thing, you're like, oh my god, I love this person.
Yeah.
And it just feels very authentic and real, the way they portray their relationship. I mean, obviously they meet with less strife than a regular relationship most likely would, but it's comfy.
It's very comfy.
That's the only way I can describe it. And I thoroughly... Because, like I said, that relationship lasts forever. You would think that if 2 people get in a relationship that's the focus of a show, 3 episodes in, it's going to get boring before the 24th episode. But the show doesn't. It remains fresh for the entire time.
Like, every episode manages to be something different from the last. And it does, like like all the plot threads throughout the series are always very unique and have their own special spin on things, and it's all just done very well. And it's
Great show.
It's just really fun to watch.
Anyone else want to add anything about that? Or
I don't think anybody else watched this except me.
I know DL
and
did,
DL,
but
who
unfortunately he's not here.
Mm-hmm.
I've had
Still-
it
still
recommended to me because I'm really into Nisekoi, and I hear that it's pretty much got that same kind of vibe going on. So I've had it recommended to me, but I've never gotten around to watching it. But it seems like a good watch.
I don't know if I would say it has the same vibe as Nisekoi. I enjoyed both Nisekoi and this show, but I don't know if I would recommend it based on you enjoying Nisekoi. So, take that as you will.
All right.
Or-
Well, I mean, I'm still gonna give it a shot, but it is what it
You
is.
definitely should.
It's great. It's great.
All right.
great.
Anyone else wanted to have a show they want to talk about, or did you want to save it for the awards section?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna talk about Your Lie in April because I
Oh,
was
God.
never here for that.
Dear God, no.
Well, you could have a conversation with Kenny about it.
No,
He'll love to talk about it.
Did no one? Did no one else watch it other than Kenny? I know.
I mean,
Everybody made fun of me for watching it.
Did you miss this meme, Frank?
we
I-
never
I-
made fun of you, Kenny. We just said the title more than once.
I actually just watched it not too long ago, and I actually really enjoyed it because I heard that it was by the same people that did Anohana, and I was like, you know what? I need my heart torn out of my chest, so let me just take care of this. And
Was this before or after your breakup when you watched this?
This was after. This was after.
Okay.
Of course.
So I actually really enjoyed it. I know that it started airing in the fall of 2014 and it carried over into 2015, but visually it's really stunning. It's got the performance aspect is phenomenal. The characters are all really engaging, and I thought that the plot was pretty compelling, especially in comparison to Anohana. So I don't know what the backlash of it is. I don't know why. Especially, I don't know why you would make fun of Kenny for watching it because
It's
I
not
really
that-
enjoyed it.
It's not a backlash, Frank. It's just the title of the show is fucking stupid. and
Well,
we just-
it makes sense though.
but it's still stupid.
It
So-
is it is fairly stupid, but it does make sense. Like you
I
find
don't
out
even
what
think
the
it's
lie
that
is.
You don't-
stupid.
you
It's
don't-
just
you don't
once
get it.
Kenny got
You-
very angry about it,
you-
we just had to keep doing it.
Me,
You
sorry,
don't get
Kenny.
you don't get an understanding of the title until the very fucking last episode.
Right.
okay, but like in English, it's structurally composed in a way that makes it sound fucking stupid. So-
Okay, but
Hey,
like
they took liberties translating that. If you wanted the literal translation, it'd be "Your lie in the 4th month of the year."
Kenny, we just want you to know we don't hate you because of this. We're not making fun of you.
Nor
it's a very good show though. It's a very well told story, and the characters are all really good, even though it's meant to be like they're all 14. But it really captures their essence very well in spite of their youth, and possibly in some cases because of their youth. And it's I would compare, if I had to compare it to anything other than maybe Anohana, I would maybe compare it to 5 centimeters per second, which is another really compelling movie that's animated, and it's got a lot of the same kind of themes of forging your own path for yourself and what defines your self-worth. And as someone who plays piano myself, you can really kind of see I don't know what's his name, Kosei, like grow as he enters these competitions and gets closer to Kaori and whatnot. And it's a very compelling watch. I highly recommend it.
Does he play any Billy Joel?
No, he doesn't.
No, it's all
Unfortunately, he only plays concert
funk.
pieces.
If he played Billy Joel, Frank would have talked about this much sooner.
Yeah, of course.
This is true.
I would have been drawn right in. But he plays a lot of Mozart and Chopin and whatnot. It's really good.
Chopin.
What's his
Just
name?
chopping away.
Chopin,
Chopin?
whatever.
Chopin.
Isn't Chopin a breed of dog?
I don't know. Could he still be alive?
Heyo.
Is that all you wanted to say about it?
Funk, you have an appreciation for music, right?
I do.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he would really like it.
You would enjoy it if you watched it.
No, Kenny, believe me, I 100% believe that. I've never had a negative opinion of the show at all. I just like getting your goat.
Everyone does.
Kenny's running out of goats at this point.
I nominated it for a couple of awards like that we're gonna get into later.
Is that one of those shows that started airing last year and finished this year?
Yeah,
okay.
it started in the fall and it finished in the winter.
So you're a lawbreaker too.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
not in my top 5 though because
I conceded
top 5
it.
doesn't count.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
It's okay, Frank.
Good watch though. I recommend it.
Well, anything else before you guys just fucking talk about Digimon or whatever?
Well, we're gonna talk about Digimon later, Steve.
Are we?
Well, I did have a
let's-
secret show, but I could pretty much drop that bomb like a week ago.
I remember, Steve, we didn't cover.
I don't know what this is.
Podcast.
Yeah, I don't. Wait, hang on, Mule. We'll get to that. Kenny, what's the secret show? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Remember when you thought I was secretly watching One Punch Man? And I was.
No, you weren't secretly watching because you were updating your Mal.
Yeah, I guess.
I saw it every step of the way.
Get the hell out of here, Kenny.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about One Punch Man?
No, it's fine.
No, you can talk about how right I was. I would love to hear that.
Yes, Steve was right.
Aha!
I just. God, that hurts.
Wow.
It doesn't happen often, but when Steve's right, it does hurt.
I mean, at least you took my anime recommendation, unlike Collin.
Wait, what?
Hold up. Oh, you mean Valkyrie Drive?
Yes.
We'll talk about Valkyrie Drive later.
Yes. Well,
Kenny, is there anything you wanted to express about One Punch Man beyond that I was right?
fucking badass animation. Like, there's no CG in it whatsoever, which is great. I mean,
you stole Collin's talking point.
did I? Whatever. Well, who likes CG in their anime, though?
Apparently you do, because you like Love Live.
Aha!
Oh my god.
I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm going to shut up now.
Also, Kantai Collection had a lot of CGI.
Yeah, it did.
I think CGI is like, I mean, at this point,
If
we've all
it's
kind of
done,
gotten used
if
to
it's
it.
done right, like,
Well, it's not even if it's done right. It's just like you have to get used to it because like a lot of anime have scenes that are like I guess too complex for
God
their
damn
budget.
it, Blue Steel was all CGI too.
Yeah, but I mean, I
Blue
think
still
that's
did it
better.
right, though.
Yeah, if it's all CGI, I mean, at least it has a consistent look to it.
Most of the time when I see it, it can be pretty jarring. Like, I was rewatching Evangelion 3.0, and that movie is fucking full of CG.
Why
and
would
it's
you
just
rewatch
so
that
jarring.
movie? Wasn't that the garbage one?
Yeah, it's such a mess, but like I
Doesn't
was
it have, like, 20
rewatching all
minutes
three of them.
gay piano playing?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
more
remember
or
you
less
told
the
us that
point.
story about when he went to the anime convention?
Which one?
The one when you watched that movie at an anime convention.
Yeah, I went to New York Comic Con and they showed the world premiere of the dub for that movie. And
I'm sorry.
I couldn't even hear the dialogue of the characters because every time Kaoru opened his mouth, all of the female members of the audience were just like, "Wah!" And I was like, you know what?
I can't wait to
do
see
this.
Omega transcribe that screen. Okay, so let's talk a bit about Digimon. I don't know how much there is to talk about. It's gonna be short, Kenny. Don't worry.
Let's make
Mule, I did say that you could lead the discussion on this. We didn't get to it in the last podcast because we were running short on time. So, go ahead and lead us on the Digimon discussion.
Can I take my
Okay.
own personal break now?
No,
Yes,
fuck
you
you're
can,
staying.
Kenny.
Okay, so try to give a brief synopsis for the audience at home. It is the sequel to the 1999 or was it 98 Digimon Adventure, and is the only sequel to that.
Shut up, Mule. You can't even say that because O2 is clearly canon with this movie.
There are vague nods to O2 that are not elaborated upon, nor do they need to be.
well, they will be.
No, but Mule, Kari and TK have their D3 Digivices.
Not only
Yes.
not only that,
Ah,
but we see the silhouettes of the 02 characters at the very beginning, and we see their Digivices getting destroyed.
Indeed. Anyway, so
So they're in some kind of peril.
O2 did nothing wrong.
it did a lot of things wrong.
It did a lot of things wrong.
We'll save that for another time.
Yeah, it's not a discussion of O2.
Okay, so try starts out, what is it, 6 years from the end of the first series.
Yes.
All the characters are basically in high school now. They're all trying to move on with their lives after they basically had to say goodbye to their friends in the digital world.
Even
They
though
retconned the O2 ending.
Yes, now it's rather than everyone has a Digimon, now it's we had to say goodbye. Now they just took Tamer's ending, and now that was the ending for O2 instead.
Yeah.
They had to say goodbye.
Now, what this allows for is kind of an interesting, I guess, contrast between how O2 handled it, or handled the, I guess, time gap. Because there was also a few years of a gap between, or maybe a year between the original and O2.
I think there was like 3 years between that series.
Yeah. But like where this one differs is that it definitely tries to make the characters, I suppose you could say, more mature in their.
I was gonna say adult, yeah.
Yeah, in their interpretations of things. They certainly act, or the main character Taichi certainly acts way differently than he does as he was like in 5th grade, of course. So he's a lot more reserved in his actions. He thinks things through. He isn't quite as down to just fight people or fight Digimon like in the real world as he was when he was a kid, because he realizes there are fucking real consequences of this shit. Like people can get hurt.
Can we talk about that for a second?
So yeah, man, somebody broke their cell phone.
Because that was the biggest issue I had with the movie, is that I appreciate the effort to make Tai grow as a character, but that whole plot point about him not wanting to fight the Digimon was like really forced in a way that doesn't make sense, because he would certainly understand the ramifications of having to stop the Digimon.
We have to stop the Digimon.
Yes. So, like, him refusing to fight just felt completely, like, nonsensical. And he was the only character like that.
Yeah, that is probably the biggest issue with Try. I really did like it, but the problem is that, like, if you're gonna go with the whole making the character more, like, aware of their, like, actions, you have to, you can't just do that with one character of a 8-character cast. You
also picked the wrong character to do it with.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be... I like the idea of a character now understanding that people's lives are on the line a bit more.
But it should have been Matt.
It's not quite the fun adventure it was.
But didn't they do that with Mimi in the first season?
It seems like this is something that I already understood.
Either way, I feel like this is a plot point they've done it at least once, possibly twice. So, it's like it could have worked if they tied it to something that Tai did. God
sorry. Look. We're sorry. We grew up with the gag dub, so we're gonna
no. It's not even that. I just prefer those names better.
No, but we also had the gag dub first.
But I like the gag dub. In fact, that was really weird watching this in Japanese, because I'd never watched Digimon in Japanese before.
And they didn't have hot and cold running water.
Let's not go over Apocalypse.
We'll save that for the.
Yeah.
Why did you get the pizza? Well, I'm stuck with the crust.
I just want to say, like, I enjoyed it in general. It was a nice return to the series.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been handled better, but like, I'm glad at least it's getting like 5 more of these movies.
Yeah, I think it's a nice reintroduction to the setting, but of course, any actual like real analysis of this has to be reserved for later, since it's basically just the first 4 episodes of a 24-episode series.
Yes.
Next time, we're getting Joe next, guys. We're gonna get more Joe, the best Digidestin. If you don't think Joe's the best, you can suck my dick.
It's a Joe episode.
Hell yeah!
Joe episodes are great.
Oh my god, Joe episodes are the best.
And at least according to the poster, it looks like his and Mimi's Digimon will finally go mega level.
I believe you mean ultimate.
No, I mean mega.
I believe you mean ultimate.
You're gonna confuse our actual audience, not our Japanese audience.
Is it called one thing in English and another thing in Japanese?
Okay, it's the most confusing thing they possibly could have come up with.
I mean, maybe it's better that we don't go into this.
Damn it. Okay. All right. Never mind. Then let's keep going.
Oh, and the other point I want to make is the ending of that first part was really rushed.
Mm-hmm.
There was just like like no real dedication to having that fight play out.
Well, now we know Omnimon is canon. Or sorry, Omegamon.
He was always canon.
Oh,
That
shit.
like the R War Game movie is canon. It's totally canon. They reference it in 02.
So is Smash Mouth canon to Digimon?
Yes. Smash Mouth is canon to everything.
Okay, what about the Bare
Soul
Naked
Brother
Ladies?
is too.
Hey, the Bare Naked Ladies are great. Don't mention them with fucking trash bands like fucking Smash Mouth.
Yes.
They are the greatest band to ever come out of Canada. You shut your mouth.
Steve, the proud Canadian, knows what he's talking about.
I'm Canadian when it suits me in
Hey.
arguments like this.
Right. No Cheez-Its, but you got Bare Naked Ladies, so it's fine.
Speaking of Cheez-Its, I'll be right
Shut
back.
the fuck up, Kenny. Anything else on Digimon?
I think we covered everything.
That's good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, Mule.
Oh fuck.
And I guess Frank,
I'll help too.
if you want to get the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh shit out of your system.
Mule's gonna lead the discussion, and I'll interject when it's
The once a year discussion on Yu-Gi-Oh is now permitted.
It's not that bad, I promise.
All aboard for adventure.
I think Kenny was too tired at the end of the last podcast to remember the train whistle.
I don't remember the train whistle.
What?
I was
You
so
don't
mad.
remember the train
Really?
whistle? It interrupted you.
I think he was too mad with rage during that discussion.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So
Go ahead, Mule.
Arc 5 is kind of a weird show to discuss because again, I can't or if I were to, or I guess I'm gonna have to spoil things which I can't recommend to any of you anymore. Then, so
Well, I mean,
It's
like,
okay, we wouldn't have watched it.
I mean, Colin might have.
only
Okay.
if you forced him.
Okay, so Arc 5 is a bit of an interesting show in terms of its, I suppose, overall series. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Shows are never typically, I would say, particularly great in terms of plot or characters.
Can I ask you a quick question before you continue?
Uh-huh.
Are all these Yu-Gi-Oh series canon with one another?
Okay, that requires a bit of an explanation.
Oh god, I wish I had an ask.
Here we go.
Okay,
You don't have to give the entire Yu-Gi-Oh timeline. You could just answer the question yes or no.
it's more
It connects with Arc 5.
well,
Arc 5 connects with Arc 5?
No, like that question it like connects with Part 5. So
Okay.
so basically, the way the Yu-Gi-Oh timeline works is that the first three series, Duel Monsters GX and 5Ds, are all in canon with one another. 5Ds takes place about 15 years after GX.
That's the bad one.
Yes,
5 Ds is the motorcycle one.
5Ds is the best one though, actually. Weirdly enough. And then the next one after that, Zale, which is probably the worst one next to GX.
Wait a second. How do you pronounce that?
Zale. Or in the
It's
dub,
not
they pronounce
Zexal?
They do.
Okay.
Okay, so
It's
that
a
one
mean
takes place.
pronunciation.
That one takes place in an alternate dimension, I guess.
Damn it.
And then Arc 5 takes place in a cluster of alternate dimensions to those.
Wow, it sounds like a clusterfuck.
It really is a bit of a cluster.
Quality hosting.
It goes
You jelly.
Yeah.
the way the series works is like it transcends between multiple dimensions. There's a fusion dimension, a synchro dimension, and
God.
an XYZ dimension. And there are alternate
Isn't that
versions.
just the Pokemon dimension?
Wait, when you say XYZ dimension, do you just mean like just a name for random other dimensions, or is this actually called?
There's a type of summoning in Yu-Gi-Oh called XYZ summoning. So just like there's a fusion summoning and a synchro summoning. So it's a dimension that where the duelists there kind of specialize in that form of summoning.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's kind of like that. And there are alternate versions of the protagonists that exist in each of those dimensions, and they're all like critical characters of the plot in their own way.
So basically, the way that Arc 5 kind of stands out, I would say, is that it kind of like holds out on you in terms of giving proper explanation for things. Like the main character, he starts off kind of like the standard protagonist, I would say, or at least in appearance. He tries to play off like his early failings and shit, but like he typically behind the scenes is way more angsty and kind of self-conscious than I'd say any of the other protagonists in the series. to the point where he's like constantly like questioning like what makes him special and whatnot. Because his father was like apparently like some sort of professional in like entertainment, so he wants to like try to live up to that. Like even though his father like basically left for unexplained reasons.
Like every anime.
Yeah. So basically, a good deal of the series is basically about him trying to come to terms with that and trying to like find his own way. Mm-hmm. Now, the way this gets more complicated is because like again, because of the whole alternate selves thing. He has an issue with like coming to like not only like coming to terms with himself, but also like dealing with all these alternate versions of himself from like different worlds and shit. Interspersed with also like an overarching plot about dimensional warfare.
Oh god. This sounds fucking heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, honestly. It's compared to the other seasons in particular, like it lays it on pretty thick.
But just to make sure, they still solve all their problems with trading cards.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
The thing is, the quirk to Arc 5 is that the trading cards now have like physical mass, or at least these summons do. So basically, like when a monster like hits something, it actually hits it.
Now
So,
the monsters are real.
yeah. So basically, you have people riding on monsters, people destroying cities with monsters, shit like that.
I feel like they should outlaw these cards, though.
Well, no,
They seem kind of dangerous.
it's all for entertainment, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
They have like event duels and shit where they have to like actually like seek out the cards that they're going to summon and shit. It's the duels are pretty interesting compared to some of the other ones. I mean, I had never really seen 5Ds much other than the motorcycle shit. I'm very used to original series and GX because when I was young, I used to be a huge I used to be a big fan of GX. What with Chaz Princeton and fucking Raw Yellow and shit.
Did Collin watch Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid?
I'm going to withhold.
Oh my god.
I'm pleading the fifth right now.
That always means guilty.
Pretty much. It's self-incrimination.
Yeah, Frank's a lawyer. He would know.
Yeah.
To elaborate on the whole alternate worlds thing, this series was directed by the guy who directed 5Ds. So basically, at about the 50 episode mark, they basically like venture off into the I guess 5Ds world or an alternate version of that world to get like reinforcements since their shit got fucked up. So like they basically go over there and like the main character's main goal is to be again an entertainer. So the issue with that is, of course, he has to try to draw a crowd. But the problem with like different worlds is that they have different ways of doing things. Like the 5Ds world is a kind of a class warfare based meritocracy.
Oh god. Those are words.
So basically he has to deal with like people just kind of like being super bloodthirsty, not really ever like trying to like I guess root for the losing guy.
Uh-huh.
In between like also being kind of I guess he's basically put under like kind of or he and his friends are put under arrest and sent to prison in between that.
Do they duel their way out of prison?
They form like an elaborate escape plan that involves like tricking the guards and bribing them shit. And
with
then
trading cards?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they get caught and forced into this tournament that forces them to like either play card games or be sent underground to do hard labor for the rest of their lives.
What about the Shadow Realm?
Doesn't exist.
Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh versus capitalism.
I didn't know that the Shadow Realm was something that was like just created by the dub until like not too long ago. It seems like something that could believably be part of the show.
You lived a lie your entire life, Frank.
Right. Like it's crazy. Like there was one episode in the Battle City arc or whatever where he's dueling this other like magician guy and he uses dark magician decks as well, but like they're in a shadow duel or whatever, and in the shadow duel they're chained up and there are discs, right? And
the
as
dark
you
energy disc.
yeah, they're dark.
He does know.
They're dark energy discs, and if they touch you, like you get sent to the Shadow Realm. Basically, I didn't know this, but in the Japanese dubs, they're not dark energy discs. They're fucking chainsaws.
What happens when they touch you?
You get your leg chopped off. Like,
Are they more or less effective than the invisible guns?
oh my god. And the OG series like has the most ridiculous duels, like, you know, launching catapult turtle at, you know, the floating castle of darkness's flotation ring to make
We've all watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. Frank.
yeah, like, just it's so stupid.
Yes.
But you know, it is what it is.
I mean,
Did you want to go on from there, Mule?
I could very easily, but I think we'll save it for the next podcast because it'll be on that one too, or next year's podcast because it'll be there.
How long has this show been running?
The show's been running since April 2014.
Okay, so it's probably got a few more years left in it.
No
It's
end
got
in
until
sight.
April 2017.
God.
Oh,
There's an end in sight.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
When I hear
Well,
it's actually picking up a bit, because I stopped watching it around episode 70 or so, and now it's on like.
Oh yeah, there was one last detail. I forgot, like, with the whole main character, like, in
Oh,
different dimensions thing. There's this whole thing where he's also kind of maybe an avatar of destruction. That wants
Where's my
everything.
train whistle?
Toot toot.
So yeah, there's that plot that's developing. But, yeah,
Okay.
carry on.
Well, I guess we'll leave it there.
Good
and
shit. Good shit. Let's clap it up for Mule.
yeah, that was. I mean, you made that fun, Mule. So
Bravo,
And-
Nolan.
none of us will ever watch it. So
Collin might.
good luck. So with that, we're actually going to take a break here, and we'll be right back with our anime awards of 2015.
Woo!
What?
And welcome back to the Luckycast. So we're gonna move right into our anime awards of 2015 now. I know everyone in this chat is super excited to get to this.
Yay.
Boy.
Go,
Um,
go.
Where's the train whistle?
You can't call on the whistle.
Yeah.
It shows up when it's needed.
Oh my God.
You can't force the train whistle.
Like fucking like that fucking the big guy in Concrete Revolution. I forget his name. It's like Gross Auger.
Bane?
No. The big guy. You know what I'm talking about?
If Bane was in
Yes,
Concrete
believe
Revolution,
you
I
mean-
would have given it a 7.
I believe you mean the planetarian now.
No, I mean Auger. The other one. The
Yeah,
one that
no,
fights,
no,
the
he
one that
becomes-
fights
no.
the S-Planetarian.
No, now he is the S planetarian.
Yes,
though.
yeah, I'm aware of that, but you know.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
That was the first episode. God damn it.
Yes.
Spoilers. Okay, so our first category this year is going to be anime opening of the year. And Kenny,
Yes.
as the Skype Brigade's favorite child, you're up first.
Wait, I'm a favorite child?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
We tease
we-
you because we
we-
love you the most.
We
Kenny,
spoil
you're our
you.
mascot.
Mackie face.
Yeah, just. Never mind.
So Kenny, what do you got for your openings?
My favorite opening of the year is the gate opening.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh.
Kenny, you're no
Hashtag
longer my
triggered.
favorite.
here we go.
There's gonna be a lot
You
more
have-
gate
okay, wait.
triggering.
Do you have any runner-ups, Kenny?
I have several actually.
Oh, I'd love to hear them.
The first season of Testament as well as the second. Actually, Gakko and Toshi Asterix. Like the more I listened to it, like the more I liked it. I don't know about you, Steve.
Yeah,
'cause
we're gonna
watched
be in
that
agreement
too.
there.
Oh,
Okay.
it's pretty hype. Yes.
Of course, Awari no Seraph season 1. What was that? Who sighed?
I did.
It's always Ben Funk.
Contact Collection.
That was a good opening. Yep.
Alno Azero season 1 and 2.
You can't count season 1
Why can't I count season
because
1?
it aired last year.
2014.
Oh well, fuck season 2 then.
You can count season 2. I'll allow it.
Fucking boss of me. Shut up.
Okay, Malcolm in the middle.
Okay. Really? Okay. Valkyrie Drive. Of course, Unlimited Blade Works season 2, and then Jokamachi no Dandelion. No one watched it.
No,
but
I watched it.
I watched a few episodes.
I thought the opening was extremely catchy.
I can see it.
It sounded like you had a top 10 list, Kenny, just wasn't ordered. Like how many
It's
openings did you have on that list? Kenny silently counts.
10. Shut up.
So it just didn't feel like ranking them. You only wanted to pick the winner.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's all you had to do, and I'm proud of you, Kenny.
Okay, you're welcome.
So there's not really an order to this. So who wants to go next?
I'll go.
That was quick.
Teacher, pick me.
Go ahead, Funk.
Well, I didn't think it proper to just choose one and have honorable mentions, so I made a ranked top 10 list, from which many songs had to be culled for the in the interest of time. So to get right into it, starting from the top, number 10. Number 10, I picked Death Parade from earlier in the year.
Shit.
I thoroughly enjoyed that song. It was nice, had a nice disco feel to it that was pleasantly at odds with basically the entire tone of the show.
I don't think there was another opening this year that was like it.
No, but I really enjoyed it.
Obviously, Garashi, in terms of at odds with the tone of the show.
I think he meant stylistically.
Yeah, the type of music.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't watched the show, so.
Oh yeah, she fucking. But obviously, there's 9 songs like more in it, but I thought it was pretty great. Number 9 was One Punch Man, which is on there despite myself. I absolutely cannot stand that type of butt rock usually, but it's something about. I don't want to just say it's hype and then leave it at that, but it is pretty hype. And I hate myself for this, especially. I did think it was hype when it came in during the final battle. As boring as that scene was for the rest of it, it did make good use of the theme music.
The music plays at the end of the game.
Yeah. As much as I liked Death Parade for being at odds with the tone of the show, I commend One Punch Man for really playing to the show's strengths.
Yeah, and I don't think I've said this, but I was actually very happy that you even gave that show a chance.
Yes,
because I had to convince you to watch it.
It pops up in another award later on.
Wow!
A tease.
Wow!
But we'll have to wait. Number 8 is actually Gakko Garashi for basically the same reasons as Death Parade, but even if you take it without in context of the show, it is just a very good song. I love the hook, especially the one measure of build up to it, and then the release where they just I think it's a Daisuke. I don't really remember, but I think that part is particularly well written, and obviously the rest of it's no slouch, but just great song. I look forward to hearing it every time I watch the show.
Fuck, now that you mention it, I'm disappointed that I totally forgot about that opening thing.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Number 7 is Kekai Sensen, which is unique in that it has kind of like a folk song as its intro. That show had very good use of music throughout, both the opening, the ending, spoilers, and the music used during the episodes were all well picked. There was a lot of jazz, a lot of, I don't know if it was licensed or not. I don't know if it was original, but I just know that it suited all the scenes very well. And I think the kind of folk atmosphere of the intro, again, sets the stage well for the rest of the show. I can't quite put my finger on why, because it's not like a show of folk heroes, but it's just worked well. And it was great. It's unlike a lot of other anime themes, which I really appreciated.
I can't remember. Did that show have like a very jazzy feel to the music? Because that's the kind of feel I got from the setting.
Not during the opening or the ending. Well, kind of the ending, but not during the opening. But the music used during the show, like during the actual episodes, was extremely jazzy.
Okay.
And it was great. And probably what helped give it that jazzy feel, the fact that there was jazz playing. That's a joke.
No one
anyway, nobody laughed. Number 6 is Euphonium, which I just, regardless of the show, I think that is just a great song. The final few bars of what's included in the intro, I want to point 2 things out as I'm halfway into this list. One, I'm really just ranking these openings based solely on the music, not on the animation. and two,
Well, that's what I typically do too. So don't.
I know other people have different views, so I figured I'd stress that. And two, I don't listen to the full version of any of these tracks. And if I have heard them, I'm rating them based on just what you see when you boot up the anime.
You mean what you hear?
May I ask why?
Yes. Just because...
Funk doesn't consider it real music.
Well, no, it's not that. I wouldn't be averse to listening to any of these in my free time. When I'm rating it in the context of, like, anime awards, I'm just going to rate it based on what you hear when you watch the anime. Because then it becomes a separate product once you're listening to the thing.
That's fair, yeah.
But Youth's opening, Dream Solister, one of the few that I actually know the name of, the final few bars before the climax, before the end of the intro, where they say the name of the song, which is, as we know from video games, a very hype practice. I really like the vocal delivery on that. I think the vocalist did a fantastic job. And just, it's very easy to write a song and then just give those parts to brass instruments, to strings, to make it sound like there's an orchestra playing. But this song really sounds like it was written with the orchestra in mind. I don't know what the instrument is, but there's some like very light percussion instrument that plays during the first, not the opening bars, but the verse.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
It gives the song such a good orchestral feel.
It does sound like the toms, I guess, of a actual. I don't know if they're actually. I have no idea what they're called. Of an actual like orchestra.
Like a timpani.
Timpani, that's what I'm thinking of. It sounds like an actual timpani.
Yeah, probably. It most likely is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just it's very emblematic of how well they handled all the music of that show. And if you're not familiar with the concept, it's a show very much steeped in music. So it just set the stage well for a good. I don't want to say perfect, but a very, very well handled music department. I don't know. I'm mincing words here. Number 5, Subete ga F ni naru. That song is. I don't know if it's licensed or if that band wrote it for the anime. What I do know is it's just a fantastic little pop song. It's got little like rock elements, a little bit of funk. It's got a great use of the wah-wah pedal. Absolutely love it. But it's just catchy. And that's a very mild, almost non-criticism to give of something. But it's really just it's kind of one note. If you listen during the verse, the bass line is just playing the chorus guitar line. And so it doesn't really go that many places, but it's what they work with so little and they make it go very far. And
I just like to add that if you listen to the full song, the full song is actually really does make the song better, I think.
Really?
It also has a solo.
Interesting.
It has a guitar solo, which is really good.
Is it an actually good guitar solo, or is it like one of those many guitar solos that just does not need to be there?
I don't know. I really like the guitar solo. It's kind of a lot crazier than you would expect from this type of song.
Really?
So, I don't know what you would consider a good guitar solo necessarily, but I think it's a very good. I actually think the song is better when you listen to it in full, especially the build up.
I mean, I find that easy to believe when you're writing a song. You're generally going to want people to hear it as the whole product and not just cut up by somebody else to make it fit their animation. But I'm just of the opinion that guitar solos are generally very unnecessary and often detract on a song. People, instead of writing a bridge, they'll just write a guitar solo. Mm-hmm. But not saying they did that because I haven't heard the song, but that's the mental image that I get. Moving on, number 4. I don't know if anybody else has actually watched this show, Wakaba Girl?
I watched it.
You did?
Yes.
Was the intro not amazing?
Yes, it was.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
So this is one of those 4-minute long episode shows, and I actually dropped it when I went to Japan just for the sake of time. But when I was watching it, the intro song was basically what I looked forward to the most, and then the rest of the episode was so short I might as well stick around to watch it. But it was just great. It's got kind of like a ska feel to it, which can be good, can be bad, but it really works this time.
It's hit or miss, sort of. So
it has something I typically don't like. It has a very anime intro-ish vocalizations. Like the chorus sings like it's like ping pong or bing bong or something. Not actual words.
Ping
but,
pong.
Yeah, just some onomatopoeia, and it sounds like it'd be pretty hackneyed, just anime girls singing high pitched, but the song just works. I don't know if the vocalist is one of the voice actresses, but outside of the chorus, the verse is sung by someone singing in their normal register, and they just have a very good singing voice. They chose the exact right person for the job. It's kind of got like a dramatic feel to it, almost musical-ish, almost, but very good. Number 3, non-Viore repeat, which I actually misspoke now that I think about it. This song also has it's got a little bit folk feel, but it's more bluegrass than folk. There's extensive use of the banjo, which I sorely appreciate. It adds so much to the song despite being buried pretty deeply into the mix. And every time I hear the song, I always try and pick it out, because it's playing throughout the whole thing, but it's never the focus of attention. But it just shows the attention to detail that went into writing that song. And I really like it. I don't usually focus on this, and I explicitly said that I wouldn't, but there is one part where it becomes kind of a march, and they sync the animation up to have the characters marching at that time. And it is pretty nice to see. But even without that part of the song sounds very nice. What's next? Number 2, so I was debating on whether or not I wanted to put this one on the list, because this song is actually several decades old. Rolling Girls was number 2.
Here comes the dad rock.
Yeah, so the intro to Rolling Girls is a cover of a Blue Heart song, which, like I said, is a couple decades old. It's just some old Japanese punk rock band, but they apparently write very good music, and this song is no exception. I actually was able to do it at karaoke when I was in Japan, and that was a lot of fun. DL and I did a duet together, as we're wont to do. But the song is pretty standard fare for punk rock. Like, there's no complex instrumentation or songwriting, but it has very good use of, I don't want to say harmonies, because they're all singing the same notes, so it's not technically a harmony, but just the way punk bands kind of, I don't want to say shout, but they kind of shout over and under each other, just repeating the same line, and it's pretty hype. It's just, because it's a hard driving song, and it really just gets you in that mood. And the tone of the show is like, it's always moving forward. It's like shark. This is quickly becoming my favorite metaphor. It's great. Rolling Girls got a lot of flack, and I gave it a lot of flack, but they did a lot of things right. And I think choosing these Blue Hearts covers for their music was a key decision, because it starts off and ends, not that we're talking about endings, but with the exact mood you want your audience to be in. It was a very good choice. And for that, even though it's a song that is super old, that they had no hand in writing, I want to put them on the list and commend them for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine, because a lot of anime openings are licensed, even if they're not older songs.
Yeah.
A lot of them just aren't composed specifically for that anime, so it's perfectly valid that is on your list. So
I agree, and I think it's kind of nonsensical for me to put the time as a factor at all, because it technically is so arbitrary it does not actually matter. But it just stuck out to me for some reason. Anyway, number 1, best opening.
We gonna get a drum roll on this one
of the year. Yamada-kun to Nanani no Majo. Great. This song is amazing. I love the production of it. Usually when people add strings to the back of a rock band, it's goes for that wall of sound kind of feel, where it's just misguided in their attempts to do it. But this one is balanced and mixed so well that the string section that they add really, really just bolsters the song in all the right ways. But the one thing I wanted to point out about this song is that if you ever wanted to hear masterful and creative use of percussion and drumming to make a rock song better, you would go to this track. This track has the best percussion I've ever heard in a rock song. It is flawless, and it's not like crazy drum solos or super fast, complex beats. It's just every hit is placed in such a way. It's almost like a melody, the way it's written. Everything is in service of the song. Nothing's done just to keep time. Of course, it's keeping time. It's a drummer, but everything serves a greater purpose than that. And it struck me the first time I heard it, and every time I heard it after that, as I watched the show, it just got better and better and better. And I love this song. It is so good. And that's my top 10.
Well, thank you, Funk, for setting a bar that none of us will ever reach for this category. But no, that was really good. Who wants to jump in next?
Well, I don't want to take up too much time for this category, but I will make a couple of mentions. I really loved a lot of what Funk mentioned, Perfect Insider, Hibike Euphonium. What went unmentioned that I really liked was Osomatsu-san's intro.
Hey.
A lot of energy, a lot of fun. Obviously, I can't critique and analyze music on the level that Funk can, so I'm not going to pretend to. So I'm going to any goodwill that I've been able to build up, I'm probably going to ruin right now, because I'm going to mention not a guilty pleasure anime, but a huge guilty pleasure OP.
Oh boy.
And that's Overlords.
Oh my god!
I wish I
like,
could remember this.
Yeah, it's like the worst. What's auto tuning? Is that what it is? Yeah, it's like yeah.
I actually listened to that without watching
auto tune, and it shouldn't appeal to me at all. But it kind of won me over as time went on. Wouldn't put it top 10 or anything, but just wanted to mention it.
Autotune and metal should never mix.
Off of bones.
Do you have an overall winner, Collin?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Concrete Revolutios. I really enjoyed, even though Funk broke that down pretty well, and it was probably a better, more objective answer than I could give. And I really enjoyed Asterisks, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, I'll jump in and do mine now, because I'll be pretty quick with this too, because I'm not like Collin. I'm not very good at describing music, so I know what I like, and this is what I like. So for honorable mentions, we got the Death Parade opening. We got the second Shokugeki no Soma opening, which I wanted to point out. I love the first opening for that show, and I loved it more than the second while it was airing. But over time, the second one kind of won me over.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
So
kind of surprised that, because I thought you kind of were not really too hot on that one for
not
quite
at
a while.
first, no. But it's one of those songs that the more I listened to it, the more I loved it. And like the difference between them is like very, very small. I think they're both great openings. I just wanted to highlight that one as just being slightly better than the first one, at least in my opinion. And last for honorable mentions is the Unlimited Blade Works second opening.
Yes.
I wanted to put that in my top 5. It just missed out. It's a really good opening. But for my top 5, and I'm sure people will give me some flack for this.
Here we go.
I actually have the names of the songs here, because I can I can say they're pretty much all in English. So the first one, number 5 on the list, is XU, which is the opening to Seraph of the End.
Oh my god.
I can say something about this one, is that it was composed by Hiroyuki Sawano, who composes some of the best music in the industry, and he also did the soundtrack to Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is fucking fantastic.
Who?
Yes. Number 4. do you want to know who he is, Collin? I can tell you who he is.
No,
Okay. He also does the music
He does the
for.
soundtrack to
I was just kidding. I was
He
just
does the soundtrack
no,
to
I'm
All
just
No
kidding.
Zero, Guilty Crown, Kill la Kill, Attack on Titan. He's done a lot of the big series in recent years, so
So good.
yeah, he's a very good composer.
So
Number
wait,
4.
he's responsible for the Bees and the Eagles?
No, he
No,
does not.
he didn't
He
do
did not
that
compose
one.
the opening themes for Attack on Titan. He just did the
The incidental music? Yeah.
Yes. Number 4 is Identity, which is the opening to Chivalry of a Failed Knight. And I remember pointing that out very early in the season how much I love that opening. So that's it.
Wait, he did that?
No. This is different, completely different, Kenny.
Oh,
It's completely different. So
never mind.
number 3 is the hero, followed by Japanese words I can't pronounce, which is the opening to One Punch Man. for all the reasons Funk stated, it's the perfect opening for that show.
I honestly expected you to make that your number one.
No, it's really good. The first time I heard it, I actually wasn't too crazy about that either. Like I thought it was good, but it's not like it wasn't top 5 good. But again, a lot of times with anime openings, the more I listen to it, the more I enjoy it. So
They hold you hostage.
yeah, the more or less. Number 2 is Brand New World, which is the opening to the Asterix War. And,
I know what number one's going to be. God damn it.
which is just fantastic overall. I cannot believe how much that show's opening captured me. So and we'll get to the endings too, but that show's ending might appear there too, just as a tease. And number 1, everyone's favorite, is the opening to Gate.
Yes. Yes.
Called Gate. Yes. I wish I could describe why, because I know the group who does this opening did 2 other anime openings that are also really good.
High School of the Dead.
High School of the Dead and Strike the Blood.
Yeah.
The first opening, I think, for that show. I just, for whatever reason, I just really love their sound. Also, now that I remember, how many of you in this chat played No More Heroes?
Yep.
Not me.
They do the music for the shop theme.
Fucking
You know that
really?
really,
okay.
that really catchy song? Yeah, they do that. So, irregardless of any protests in this chat.
Did you just say irregardless?
Yes, I did. Gate is the best opening of the year.
You fucking walking meme.
Asshole.
Okay,
So
someone else.
glad I'm alone.
Okay,
I'll-
I'm done.
I'll be really short.
You can
So-
shut up. Like your opinion doesn't matter.
The meme's going too
Oh,
fast.
Kenny.
I guess it kind of does it since I only watched
No,
7 shows.
I'm-
Well, like, people who are not in on that meme are just gonna think Kenny's bullying Matt.
no, I'm totally joking. Just whatever.
But yeah, I don't really have a full list since, like I said, I only watched 7 shows. But my favorite OP of the year is Osomatsu-san's. I just really like that song, and a lot of like little things in it I really like. I like the some of the background stuff, like the sound or whatever they're making in like on the certain beats in the one section. I don't know, but there's just a lot of little things in that song that's really great, and it has a very kind of old-ish, like it has a kind of, I don't know, old like
Nostalgic?
kind of feel to it. I guess it feels like a show. It feels like a theme from an older show.
Yeah, I was gonna
guess.
say I had that same feeling when I watched it.
which
recently.
which obviously fits.
I think the guitar tone in particular sounds very 60s.
Yes, that's what I want. Yeah, it sounds like a 60s song almost.
What a coinkydink. They're from the 60s.
I also just want to give special mention to the Perfect Insider opening, since that opening is really great and I love it, and it's probably even though it's probably my favorite aspect of that show, but yeah, it's just a really great opening, and the art definitely goes along with it too.
All right, great. Mule, Frank, which one of you guys want to go next?
All
right.
Unless you want to go first, Mule.
I mean, I don't care.
All right. So, I got 5 in no particular order. A lot of them are ones that.
Well, you
everyone
got to
here
choose a
mentioned.
number 1 though, Frank.
I have to choose a number 1.
You have to
Yeah.
choose the best.
All right. I'll say Perfect Insider was probably my favorite because, stylistically, it was really interesting. I love the song. It's really catchy, and it doesn't really do a lot, but with the little it has, it goes a long way for the show, and it really hooks you in. I like the opening and I like the ending a lot for that show. For the other ones, I have Death Parade because I love the style of it. It's really interesting. One Punch Man, obviously, because it fits the tone of the show so well. Unlimited Blade Works, even though, aesthetically it's beautiful. I was a little disappointed because none of that shit actually happened. So, you get like Lancer and Caster fighting on the bridge, and that doesn't actually fucking happen. And I was a little miffed.
I mean,
And
you knew that was going in, didn't you?
obviously, but like, you know what? Like, don't put the shit in if you're not gonna show it. Like you're making a promise you can't deliver. You feel me?
I feel you.
The song is good.
Can you
but like,
can you name another anime that like does that? Like
Does
where
what?
they like throw that shit in the opening and it just never happens. There's so many anime that do that.
I know, but like,
I can
it
think of
annoys
one
me.
example. I remember back in the 90s, I saw a trailer for the Spice Girls movie.
Oh my god.
And in that trailer,
Great
there
anime.
was this scene where they were in the bathroom cracking jokes, and that scene was not in the movie. So
How tragic.
yes.
Terrible.
Anyway,
Stop calling people herbs. You gotta stop this.
I have to stop it? No. All right. And for my last one, I have Shimonetta, which no one really mentioned.
that almost made my list.
I actually really like it.
It was certainly unique.
Yeah, that's why I like it so much, because it's so out there, but it fits the tone of the show so perfectly. And I love how in the middle of it they always have that little interlude that has like kind of a preview for the episode, but not necessarily.
I always turned my eyes away because I didn't want to get spoiled for
Really?
the episode.
I love that though. It's so cool. And you know, the hook is great. I really like that show. It was a fun ride, and the opening just never failed to get me hyped to watch it.
Wait, are we talking about intros?
Shimonetta.
Okay, yeah, that absolutely did not almost make my list. I thought you were talking about endings for a second.
The ending is great too, but like,
We'll get there.
I like the intro. Anyway.
Okay, Mule, you're last up.
All right. So I had a list of 6 for mine.
Okay.
Oh dear.
At
That's
least
one
it's an
more
even
than
number.
5.
It is, but it's 4 less than 10.
Oh, that's true.
Like, again, I can't describe things musically as articulately as funk, so I'm going to try, going with how I basically organize them, which is how the music matched the visuals on screen. Now, for 6th place, I put One Punch Man's opening. Now, what I found striking about this one was, again, of course, it's a very frenetic theme, and that matches pretty well with the ridiculous pacing of the visuals themselves. Mm-hmm. But what I found most striking about this is not just how it matches the over-the-top action in the opening, but how it kind of perfectly contrasts the actual show itself. Just how Funk, I guess, mentioned how... What was his 10th place one? Was it? Death Parade, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like about how this opening does this is that, yes, all these things are something that Saitama is capable of, but even though it's portrayed as something really exciting in the opening itself, when you actually see his perspective on this is just another day, and it's just the shittiest thing in the world for him. And I found that to be kind of a cute little contrast. That kind of elevated that to 6th place for me. Number 5 would be the first opening of Owari Monogatari. Again, visually, to give some context to how Monogatari does their openings, they typically focus on the central character to the arc. So this one focused on the central character basically to this series, which was the one that's kind of just leading the main character on the entire time. Now, how this one works out well for me is that it is almost kind of oppressive in how it manipulates its visual design. There's lots of weird little close-ups and kind of weird changes of camera that all focus around the character in question. That kind of just draws you in while also kind of just disorienting you the entire time. And I felt that the tempo of the song itself really played into that pretty well. So, okay, so number 4.
I wish any of us could relate to that. I'm sorry, Mule.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched it, even just as curiosity. So
I mean, there's not much time for that. So, number 4, again, as Funk and Frank before may have said in various points, Subatega F. Simply because, again, it's not only is a great song, but visually I think it conveys the series perfectly. At least from at least regards to the mystery itself, because the way the characters move in the opening itself, of course, for the audience, they're basically represented in line art, sort of. So, and it basically doesn't just show the characters moving around. It shows their mentality throughout, I guess, the perspective events as well. So you have the core character of the mystery, Dr. Magata, like just kind of fading in and out of what seems to be existence because they can't actually comprehend her at all, as shown by like the like weird kind of distortions and facial expressions in the art in the opening itself. And I felt those like nice little touches that showed like the various emotions expressed by the characters that also quite matched the how they were in the series. Kind of nice to see. Third is Osomatsu-san, which of course, as Matt said, it certainly does exude a 60s aesthetic, both in terms of visual design and the music itself, which does sound very reminiscent of songs from the era, which I really found kind of a nice touch, considering like they were the entire crux of the show is basically bringing something incredibly old back from like basically the dead, and it seemed nice that they were trying to stay true to that throughout the entire thing. And let's see, was that number 3? Is that?
Yeah, that was 3, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2 is Prison School.
Oh, you didn't want to mention that.
Now,
it's a good opening, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Prison School I really liked because, again, it's something that really nicely contrasts with the content of the show itself. Or I guess it kind of functions alongside it because the context of the show itself is very kind of ridiculous in that they're basically just imprisoned in their school perpetually for trying to peek at naked girls.
It's almost as if it's some kind of prison school.
Yes. But like, what I really loved about it was the high intensity of the music coupled with the like ridiculously serious expressions and kind of like, I guess, motions in each scene of the opening. Mm-hmm. And I found it to be just kind of like a joy to watch every single time I watched the show as a result, because it just perfectly fit how the show kind of directed itself right through the end. Number 1. Now, this one is a show you're all fairly familiar with now. It is Arc 5.
Oh God!
Wow.
I was hoping you were gonna say Gate, but I guess not.
I mean, there's a very fine line drawn between the people who have Gate on their list and the people who have Spetega F on their list. Continue.
Now, what I loved about this opening is that, as we established, it's with the whole multi-dimensional bullshit thing. It basically portrays the characters as though they were just thrown into a different show entirely, in the sense that it's very reminiscent of all the openings of 5Ds, complete down to the fucking motorcycles and shit. And it's just kind of a joy to watch because, like, since I watched 5Ds, like a lot of the things or how the opening progresses is very reminiscent, and oftentimes uses exact callbacks to how things progressed in 5Ds, down to the cinematography and everything. So it's just kind of a lot of fun for me to watch as a result.
Continuity.
Kind of, I guess.
Okay, was that the end of your list? That's all you want to say?
That's it for OPs.
All right, great job, guys.
Let's go on to Anthony's.
Collin leads this one off for some reason.
Well, yeah, for some reason.
That was a good announcer voice, Steve.
Yeah.
I thought Collin would have more to say on the songs.
So Steve is a dum-dum and put OP, ED, and Comfy all right next to one another. Give Funk a fucking break.
Listen, you gotta start strong and you gotta finish strong.
All right, so we spent a lot of time on OPs, so I'm going to keep this as brief as possible because I don't have much to contribute other than I really like the sound of these. So, Asterisk, beautiful ED bleeds into the ending of each episode perfectly, and they nail it every single time. This is a show that had production values that were way, way too good for the pretty generic material they were working with. Probably an ED that people forgot about because it only aired once was the Gakugarashi episode 4 ED, which is even it's surprisingly good English from a Japanese singer. It was a very emotional song. I thought I think the moment landed for me quite well. I'm not sure if any of you guys even really remember what it sounded like.
Unfortunately not.
But it stuck with me. Lupin the Third, great ending theme.
There's the shellblade growl.
Are you trying to be Tony the Tiger? What's going on over there?
I have a signature growl now. Oh my god!
Always. Matt imitated it once, but
oh, that's
it's
great.
yours.
Oh, I wish I was there for that.
You were there for that.
Was I? I didn't even notice.
It was
Oh,
on
wait.
the podcast. He might have done
Wait,
it subconsciously.
Okay, I'll have to give it a listen sometime. But the Lupin the Third one, it's like walking into a speakeasy with your cocktail dresses. You singing about. It's great. But my number one ending theme is definitely Shokugeki no Soma ending number 1, which is the comfiest shit in the entire world. I love the hell out of this ED.
Also, they were naked.
And they were naked at the end. And
is
it's called Spice. I actually remember its title. And if Spice isn't on your list, you need to be fired from the fucking podcast. If you watch that is.
Can we hold everybody to that?
Yes.
I am willing to hold people to that.
Yeah.
Because I know my cards.
Well, we can't hold Matt to it because he didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Everybody else.
Wait, what? I missed.
Don't worry about it. We're not kicking you off. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Go on.
Okay, I'll get mine in quickly because I can do this pretty fast. So honorable mentions to the Time Ado ending.
Hey.
I was surprised Collin didn't pick. Again, one of those songs I didn't like at first, but I actually listening to the full version of that one did help me like it more.
Mm-hmm.
But good ending. Also the Monster Musume ending I thought was really fun. You don't even remember it.
No, I don't. And I did not look it up for purposes of this ranking.
Okay, but that's just honorable mention. Don't worry. Number 5 is Honey, Honey, Honey from Punchline, which was not on my list until Funk mentioned it the other day, and I remembered it, and I went back and listened to it, and it was I had forgotten how good it was. So I'm glad that happened. I'm glad it's on this list.
Hold on, Steve. I distinctly remember you mentioning it to me the other day. Are we in some kind of time loop?
Maybe. It wasn't in my top 5, because I think I had it on my honorable mentions just from memory, but I didn't actually go back and listen to it until you mentioned it. It was just kind of sitting there.
But
so,
I only went to listen to it when you mentioned it.
Maybe we influenced each other. That's how it works. I don't know. Number 4 is Hidamari Days, the ending to Umaru-chan. I think I remember commenting this on the podcast. We discussed it. That was also a song that had like kind of a very nostalgic feel to it. It's just kind of perfectly suited for that kind of anime.
Steve, what does nostalgia feel like?
It feels good. Let me tell you that.
Feels comfy.
He's not wrong. Number 3, which means I'm not off the podcast, is Spice, the first ending to Soma. Definitely not the second ending, which was really, really bad, and it's super disappointing.
I mean, it kind of warmed up to me after a while, but yeah, it's still just no comparison.
No comparison at all. Number 2 is Hello Shooting Star from Assassination Classroom. And I think I also mentioned this on the podcast. I was so happy that show, despite being too core, kept the same ending the entire time. It's such a good ending. Funk, you want to say something?
Yeah, I've heard nothing but praise for that song, and it's a fine track, but it just kind of bores me, and I don't mean because it's down tempo. There's nothing. I don't like the hook that much, and there's not much interesting in the verses. I don't see what's to like about that song.
I wish I could explain. It's just one of those things I listened to and I loved. It was one I actually loved immediately. So,
well, you can't argue with that with something as subjective as music.
And number 1, by far and away, the best ending of the
Come on,
year.
give it to me. Give it to me.
I've said this before. I'm not an ending guy.
Please, if we agree on this. Please.
To explain it, I don't often watch endings. Like, if I listen to them, I just kind of
Steve, just get to the point,
I kind of have it
please.
running in the background while I'm updating Mal. But I sat and I watched this ending every single episode.
Come on.
It's Waiting for the Rain, the ending to the Asterix War.
Oh, God.
Kenny, are you disagreeing with me?
I am.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, heartbreak,
No,
betrayal.
This Collin did mention this as well, and I completely agree with everything he said. This opening, I don't know why, but it just stuck with me in a way that I don't think an ending has in years. I don't even know if I can list the last ending I was this passionate about. But yes, it's number one. So that's all I have to say on endings and
All
music
right.
in general.
Let me go next, because I just want to cut off Mule.
Let me go next to say fuck you.
You can
Funk.
go after Funk Mule.
Fuck you, Steve.
Oh, he spoke. We got it. All right. Number 10. I made a top 10 list again.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Oh,
Number
boy.
10, Concrete Revolution. And this is kind of cheating because this song is on here for less about its quality as a song and more about the stylistic choices made. I absolutely love the fact that they went with an instrumental song for their outro, because that is something you so rarely see. And I think the song is fine. I think it's very good, and I like its use during the episodes. But the fact that they had the fortitude to stick with an instrumental track, I just respect the hell out of, and I love. Number 9 will be Prison School. This is a very crass, simple song. Like, there's nothing complex going on here. It's got the anime trope of each of the cast singing a different verse, but it works very well. The song is just about getting some. The cast members all sing it in their roles well. I especially love the verse when what is his name? Glasses.
Octo.
Yes, when he comes in, he just has that raspy ass throaty singing, and it works so well. But after watching any given episode of the show where you're really hyped to see these characters succeed, it works so well as a cap off. Number 8 is Everything Comes F. This is similar to Concrete Revolution. This is more for stylistic reasons. I absolutely love that the song is partly in 7, but even beyond that, I think they had a very good know-how of when to switch back in the common time, which is the chorus. A lot of songs with odd signatures have the tendency to sound arbitrary, and a lot of times it's because they're written arbitrarily. But I think the use of 7 serves this song very well, and it never sounds too stop-starty, which is very common of songs in odd time signatures like that. So very well written. The actual how it sounds, I of course like. I would not put something on here just for the choices made if it didn't sound good, and I think it sounds fine. The chorus is kind of generic, but the verses, it's fantastic. I completely respect what they did. Number 6 is Raycon, which is probably the most anime song on this list. It's very difficult to defend, but
Wait,
I will.
You watched that?
I did. I finished Raycon.
Okay.
Kenny's dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of am.
I can't say it was worth my time, but I can say that it was great to hear this song at the end of every episode. There's this one section between the A part and the B part. I don't want to call it a bridge because I don't know how it fits into the song as a whole. Maybe it's the pre-chorus, but it's just several bars of like very tense buildup, and it just releases in such like a poppy way that even if it's generic, not J-pop, but just like anime J-pop, which is the worst thing, it just works after, because the way the buildup is done is actually written very, very well. And it's because the whole show rather is about supernatural occurrences, and it kind of plays into that a bit. And it's just the release you get. Very worth it. Great song. And this is something I don't really talk about very often because I don't give a fuck about lyrics. But the lyric choices that they made for this song give just, I guess, the syllables in those words lend themselves well to making the melody even more catchy, if that makes any sense. Because we've all had that where you're listening to a song and just one line kind of sticks out as being awkward. Maybe they have to take poetic license to make something fit syllable-wise, or maybe just phrase a bit awkwardly to get the rhyme in. The opposite of that is when the just the word choice enhances everything, and that is very clear with this one, and I wanted to pay props to that. Number 5 is Non-Biori Repeat. It's one of the few shows to have both its intro... Wait, I skipped 7. Oh my god. I went from 8 to 6. 6 was Raycon, 8 was Everything Becomes F. Number 7 is Shokugeki no Soma, Ending 2.
Oh my god!
So, I was with everybody else. I hated this the first time I heard it.
And then just grows on you.
It grows on you, but I think a large part of that is it's sung from the point of view of one of the characters in the show, and when you first hear it, you don't know that character, and she's introduced as the second core goes on. And I don't know, because the singing's bad, I can't deny that, but it kind of works when you think about her character. And like the animation like plays up the whole stalker thing, and it just it all blends together. Okay, forgive me. It's like cooking a dish, you know.
Oh god!
all the ingredients enhance one another, and they don't clash. That's what I see here. Like it's a very, if you listen just to the music, it's gonna sound like just any romance song. But you factor in like the stalker lyrics, stalker animation, just the whiny tone in which it's sung by somebody who's clearly desperate. It just paints this picture that works very well. And it just grew on me. I'm not going to say it's a good song, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So 6 was Raycon, 5, Non-Biori Repeat. So this is very different stylistically from the intro. It's not folky, it isn't bluegrass, no banjo. It's very poppy. But I really liked the use of harmonies because they have all 4 of the main cast singing. And I took this umbrage with Love Live, at least in the
God
film.
There's
damn
that
it.
fucking
There's
word.
the word.
That some of the songs did not sound like they were written to utilize all the vocalists they had on hand. This one was, and granted 4 is a lot less than 9, and a 4-track vocal part is not uncommon at all, but it's just, they made the effort to do it, and it very much shows. I mean, the fact that the hook's very catchy, that it's written to be very pleasing, just the way the changes are, that all works in service of that, but when you listen to it and pay attention just to the harmonies, there's a lot to appreciate there. Number 4 was Hello Kiniro Mosaic, which is, I think, the only straight jazz song on this list, and possibly the other list as well. I don't really remember that well. And this series has always had more jazzy tracks, and I've always liked that. But there's one part of the song I want to pay special attention to. When it leads back into the second chorus, at the end of it, it's done so smoothly. Like I haven't deconstructed the song. I don't know how it's written, but it catches me every time, the way they slide right from the verse into the chorus. It's not like, okay, end the last part of this verse on 4, start the chorus at 1. It just smooth sailing right in there. And it's just, Kenny, back me up here. You've watched this. Is the ending thing not great?
Go ahead, Funk.
So, but it's that impressed me the moment I heard it, and continued to with every successive listening. But it being a jazz track, the instrumentation is great. I love the drumming on it. It's not Yamada-kun levels of good drumming. It's very standard jazz drumming, but very standard jazz drumming is very impressive. So it's great. It's a very dense track. You know, you can pick out something like every time. It has okay use of harmonies, not great. Like they're written serviceably, but as a whole, it's great. And I can't overstate how much that one moment going into the last chorus never ceases to amaze me. It is fantastic. Number 3 is Kekai Sensen, which if you haven't heard, this is a track I would not recommend just looking up. I would recommend watching the show, because this is one of those where it often bleeds into it, as I think Collin was mentioning with Asterisk, was it?
Yes.
Yes, right.
and this is going to sound extremely plebeian, whatever. The opening guitar riff is just so good. I don't know what effects they're using on it, if it's just like a standard chorus or whatever, but it just sounds so, not layered, because layered implies there's different things, but there's so much behind it when he's playing that riff that it just gets you going. And then it leads into this like really swingy kind of upbeat track that just rounds out any episode perfectly, because they make a very good stylistic choice of not ever ending an episode on like a super grim, and we all know that episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will Smith's dad.
How many times are you going to bring that up in a podcast?
It's like, how come he don't want me, man? And then it just goes into the funky hip hop beat. There's nothing like that. Every time the show leads into the chorus, it's at a moment where it's like, oh man, what's going to happen next? And you hear the riff come in, and you're like, oh boy, the blood's pumping. And then the animation that accompanies it is just all the characters having a good time, just dancing on stage, very high energy, fits the song perfectly. And it's the kind of song that makes you love living life, love living life. It's just,
if you didn't say it, I would.
Yeah, I had to get out there first, but I wish I could somehow instill in you all the feeling of watching an episode of that and just leaning right into the ending. It's just like, it's orgasmic. Number 2, Shokugeki no Soma, first ending.
Okay, you fixed your mistake.
Yeah, I was not going to include the second one, but the first one, not crazy. I know we've already talked about this, but I love the sparse instrumentation of it. And the first time I heard it, I thought during the build-up to the chorus, the pre-chorus, the guitar sounded pretty atonal. But the more I listened to it, the more it really worked for me. And just given how little there is, it gives the impression of sounding almost accidental. But you can tell that every note was placed there with precision. Mm-hmm. And it's obviously great. It's obviously comfy. The final part of it where they're all sitting around the dinner table eating, like that little loop, like it was a great decision to put a visual loop along with it.
It was also hilarious to watch.
Yeah, that too. But it's a very stagnant section, and I don't mean that in a negative way. But just great. Every time you listen to that song, you're going to find something else to like about it. But anyway, number 1, which I was hoping Steve would agree with me on, but he didn't actually mention this song at all.
Oh my god.
This ending theme to Saikano, which is amazing. It's not very distinct, but it is one of the most well-written pop songs I've heard in a long time. The very ending of it, which I'm pretty sure is just a cut from the song doesn't actually end that way, but I'm not sure. I think that was perfectly edited. It ends on just a little piano, I guess a fill would be the word. And it's just a sweet little cap to like this just pleasing pop song sung by a very capable vocalist who did a fantastic job. But it has good use of repetition in the singing during the chorus. Every other line, a couple words are repeated, and it's just like it's catchy, and that's why it's catchy. But it's very pleasing to the ear to listen to it the whole over and over. And listening to this song for reviewing it to see if it would make the list actually reignited like a very big appreciation for that show overall, because I think I gave that show more of a bad rap the last time we talked about it. Because now all I have are these pleasant memories of it. I think I underrated it, and I think it's great. And not exclusively why, of course, but a large reason why is just how good this ending theme is. And I will say,
since you called me out, I probably should have given it an honorable mention because I did briefly, I did consider it, and I don't know why I didn't at least give it an honorable mention. I liked it. I just didn't think it was top 5 material.
That's fair. Just giving you shit. It's like I'm wont to do.
Well, great job, Music Man. Mule.
All right, since Collin wants us to keep this short, I guess I'll do that.
Say what you need to.
I kept it short. I only chose 10 songs.
Jesus.
Well, no. Also, I can't really speak that.
Yeah, we know from the openings.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you, Funk.
Hurry the fuck up! I have to pee.
So,
oh, dude, Kenny, I already peed. I just let Funk go off. I left.
I was thinking about that, but I was trying to be considerate.
Thank you, Kenny.
Fuck being considerate. We're on a podcast.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Go.
Do you have 6 or 5 songs this time, Mule?
6 this time.
If you
no, we're not doing
going like this, I will blow the whistle until Steve stops recording.
All right, Monster Moose made for number 6. I just really liked how high energy the whole song was, coupled with the whole like little bits of nice, fun, happy animation in the corners for the whole song.
It also was nice that it focused on the other characters, whereas the opening just focused on the main characters.
Yeah. Number 5, Kekai Sensen. Funk's already said everything about that.
Great change.
Number 4, Osomatsu, because again, not only is the song fucking great, but the animation was just really captivating with the way it was just like moving food the entire time. I just fucking loved that. Number 3, Time Auto. Again, song just fucking great.
Mule, can I interrupt you just to say thank you for not saying time ado?
There's nothing wrong with Time Ado. Well, I mean, there's a lot wrong with the show, but the word is fine.
Anyway, continue, Mule.
Alright, number 2, Soma. Again, everything's been said.
Well, you gotta
One or
specify
two?
which one.
1, obviously.
Okay, good.
You can't have 2 as like the fucking second best in a list. Okay, and number 1 is the second ending for Shirobako, which I really just love the entire whole like sequence of just the characters themselves being designed as the song goes.
The whole animation process, that was great.
It was just a fucking great and also comfy way to end every single episode.
We may need to bring back the comfy counter.
By the way, the one after comfy or category after comfy is fucking artistic, Steve. You did not consider Funk's feelings at all.
Don't worry, we're taking a break.
Okay, Matt?
I'll keep this as short as possible. Favorite was Perfect Insiders. It was really good. I liked the difference in time signature, and it's catchy. I also like to give a shout out to One Punch Man, since it's like, again, it's nostalgic, and it kind of reminds me of like the kind of endings that you would hear in like older anime from like the 90s. So that's it.
I re-listened to that today, and I do think I often skipped it when I was watching the show because I just didn't really like it, but it's actually pretty good, and that's thanks to your recommendation on it. So
I really like, I really like the song a lot.
Great. Frank?
Okay, so
Okay.
no, I'm here. Okay. So, my favorite, I know no one else in the chat has watched it, but my favorite is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's Last Train Home, which is it's kind of like a stock song, but it's pretty good. And the visuals are really nice, very fitting with the fact that it's supposed to be the end of Stardust Crusaders, and it flows very nicely. Between the animation and the song, it's very good. Honorable mentions go to, I have 4 of them. The second half of Durara, which
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Durara. It's Durara times 2 or whatever. And
it's a good ending theme.
yeah, it Never Say Never is very good. I dropped it because I'm gonna get back to it when it's all done. It's not really the kind of thing that I can really watch on a week-to-week basis, but I really did like the ending theme a lot. Then I have Osomatsu, which basically for the same reasons Mule said. It's a really catchy song, and the animation goes very well with it. Then I have Gotchaman Crowd's Insight, which, again, I also know that no one else really watched, but...
Frank's bringing these shows that no one else watched.
No, yeah,
That's what I wanted.
they're really good. Gotchaman Crowd's Insight is a really good ending. The animation is spectacular, and the song is... I can't really analyze it on the level that Funk does, but it flows very well. and it's the soundtrack to that show overall is very superb, but the ending theme in particular is a standout. And then I have the second ending theme to Your Lie in April, because after the second half, it changes ending themes, and that half aired in 2015, so it counts. But it's very good, very aesthetically pleasing. It fits in tone with what's going on in the show at that point, because after that, it starts to take a turn, and it gets very emotional. It's very good. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, great job, Frank. Kenny, you're last up for this category.
Yeah, thanks. Finally.
Kenny, we love you.
I can't. Shut up, Steve. God damn.
Okay.
How's it going?
So I can't use I'll Noah Zero season 1 ending theme.
Correct.
I fucking hate you. Okay,
Those
well.
are the rules.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, well, since that's not allowed, Monster Musume ending theme.
Was that your favorite?
Yep. Well,
Okay.
since I can't use I'll Noah Zero, that's what it is.
I was just wondering if you had like any other songs.
No, I do.
Okay, but that one's definitely.
I
your
have Mikara Gakuen Kumi Kiyoku,
Really?
which no one
I watched. I
Did you
finished
wa-
that.
Did
I
you not
finished
like? Did you not like the anything?
I didn't.
Was that the anime based on a song series?
Yes. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Oh, great.
But no, I didn't hate the ending theme. But I'm surprised that you liked it that much.
I don't know, like just like I don't know, like just
Mhm.
I don't even know what to say about it. Like just like everything about it, like the guitar, like you know, and everything about like the drums and shit. Like it was just really catchy.
I can see it.
I don't know. Whoever fucking laughed, go fuck yourself.
I'm surprised, Kenny, that because I thought the intro was better than the outro. I'm surprised.
I thought they were equally good. I don't know, just sort of that. And then the Showman sample ending, and complete silence.
I still can't
I
believe
don't-
that show is real.
we'll get there. Don't worry.
Jesus.
Any other endings on your list, Kenny?
No, that's it.
Okay, great.
Can I say something before we close up?
Sure, go ahead.
In going over these lists, at least for me, I thought that this year had a larger amount of good endings, but weighted the openings were better. There were just fewer of them. Anybody else have any opinion on that?
I mean, I always think endings are generally better than openings, but I thought this year was like great for both openings and endings.
Yeah, I would honestly say personally I found a lot more openings to be kind of applicable for best of the year than any of the endings were for the most part. I mean, there were certainly some standouts. Like again, I had 6 in my top list of
You had
endings.
6 in your top 5.
Yeah, but I did find it harder to find as many good endings as I could like good openings overall.
Yeah, I feel the same.
All right.
Okay, well, if there's no other words, we're going to take another short break here, and we'll be right back.
Yay.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to the Luckycast. This is our Anime of the Year Awards. And next up on the list is the Michael Bunks Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Comfy.
All right. So I have one honorable mention. Looking at my notes here, for Comfiest anime, I wanted to give an honorable mention to Non Biori Repeat, because this show achieved the impossible. It was season 2 of a comfy slice of life, do nothing show that did not get boring by the end of its run, which, as we'll see later, is a running theme for shows this year. But I was very, very pleased with how it turned out. They cover a lot of similar ground, but keep it fresh, which I think is a very difficult skill to nail. So props to them. But for what actually wins the award is Kofuku Graffiti. And I've always had trouble pronouncing the Fu character because it's a bit of an F and a bit of an H. So I don't know. But that show is the comfiest show that aired this year, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why. So actually, this is the podcast for that show's season is the one in which I got really drunk and started talking about life vis-a-vis anime. But what I got into there is why this show was so comfy. So just to give a brief, sober recap of that argument, whenever we talk about anime, rewatch it, listen to the themes after the fact, that just transports us back to that state of mind we were in when that show first aired. And for me, when this show was airing, I was doing three things in my life. I was going to class, I was watching anime, and I was making music. And this was the comfiest time ever. So I was already set up to enjoy the comfy, and then this show comes along. And this show is, first of all, it's very well animated. It's animated by Shaft, which I can't get enough of.
Can't get enough of that Shaft.
Can't get enough of that Shaft. Just talking about Shaft.
The tilting heads.
Yes, the tilting heads. It's a food show, which gives it a certain amount of comfy points right there. But the thing that really drives it home for me is the show's thesis, which Steve and I have argued about to no end. Whether or not food tastes better when you eat it with loved ones.
God damn it.
And I think this, as cheesy as it is, that is something that rings true for me. I can completely understand where this show is coming from. And even if you can't, I think that it does a very good job of imparting that feeling onto you, whether or not you buy it. It's very slow-paced. Much like eating a good meal, you just really want to savor it and take your time. You don't want to rush. And this show does not give you any opportunity to rush by. Each episode had a cold open, which might seem at odds with the comfiness of it, to start something and then get interrupted. But given that the cold opens were, I think, almost exclusively just people trying a food dish and then reacting to it when it's so tasty, it's not, it doesn't get into so much of a rhythm that the opening coming in right afterwards really jars you. So I think everything worked in favor of the show being just extremely comfy. The food, of course, given that it was Shaft, was well animated, it looked appetizing, which a lot of food shows just fail to do, which is basically antithetical to any mission statement they could have. When I think of this show, I just want to go back to that apartment, get back on that couch, get my warm blanket, get some rum and coke, and just settle in for a great night. And that's the feeling I get when I think of this show, and for that reason, I think it's the comfiest of the year.
Maybe someday, Funk.
Maybe.
Maybe someday.
Well, I think I don't mean to take the torch away from anybody else right now who wanted to speak, but I think that leads in pretty well to my winner of comfiest anime of the year. Because mine, while it's probably a bit of an upset pick, because it's also food related, and so you could probably guess what it is. Because my
JK Meshi?
my pick for comfiest anime of the year is Shokugeki no Soma. I think that.
How the fuck is that comfy?
No. Hear me out.
It's like a fucking battle. Like
hear me out, motherfucker. All right.
You don't know shit.
No, shut the fuck up, Kenny. Jesus.
Whatever.
All right. I think we mistakenly believe that an anime is comfy when it's calm, it's got this relaxed tone, it moves at a slow pace. But just because we feel relaxed watching it doesn't mean the anime has to move like fucking molasses.
So,
Right.
Collin, are you trying to redefine comfy here?
As the arbiter of comfy, I agree with him.
Like,
So it's
Arthur,
going to be a comfy paradigm
like,
shift.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, like Halo.
The next person who says paradigm shift is off this podcast.
No more Final Fantasy 13 references. Holy fuck.
Was that in 13?
It was a mechanic, yeah.
Anyway, Soma.
But so Soma, I blazed through this show, and it was in like a day, and it was just the comfiest day I could have possibly had, just going through Shokugeki no Soma, just episode after episode, and it's not it was never I have to know what happens next. It was never that. It was just this feeling of pure joy, just sitting there and just absorbing Soma and all the nice, the food. The characters are fairly simplistic, but it's still a lot of fun. And I just enjoyed the hell out of it. I think that you can kind of see the cracks in the shonen armor forming towards the end of it. Like, you could see like it's getting a little bit derivative. Like, the opponent presents their dish and the judges taste it and they have a foodgasm. Then the opponent explains their dish, and then Soma presents his dish and the judges taste it and they have a foodgasm. And Soma explains his dish, and then one judge is like, "Wait, what's this? What's this I'm tasting?" And Soma reveals to the shocked audience that he used honey or olive oil or vaginal discharge in his dish. He either narrowly loses or narrowly wins. So the format doesn't have quite as much wiggle room, and I'm eager to see if they can keep it fresh. No pun intended, in season 2, which I'm very glad they're getting.
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
So Steve, I believe, was the one who pointed this out on the podcast in which we talked about the second season of Soma. So it does get very linear in the way that the conflicts play out. But one mix-up I did enjoy was towards the end. Whenever he loses one of the Shokugekis or the smaller battles, whatever, he incorporates that loss into a winning dish later on. And what I particularly enjoyed about this is that it showed to the audience, like, you're able to discern it, but they don't point it out to you. They don't mention it.
Oh yeah, you know what? There's another great moment that they don't point out to the audience, too. I think that's something that Soma might excel at, and I didn't even notice. Because this was the only other thing that I could think of. Maybe there was more. But early, like in the first or second episode, his dad gives him the advice that he doesn't hear, that your cooking will only surpass mine when you find a woman worth cooking for. And at the end, he's beaten by that guy who does the curry dish, who has found the woman he cooks for. And I enjoyed the George Lucas poetry.
It did rhyme. One other thing I wanted to point out was you started this by contrasting slower paced shows with faster paced shows that could still be comfy. Mm-hmm. But I would argue that Soma has relatively slow pacing. The last 6 episodes are all the same round of the same tournament where the same things happen of just people presenting dishes, explaining dishes, and then getting judged. Mm-hmm. The training camp took a very long time, screen time wise. Mm-hmm. The show dwells on certain events for a very long time when you plot it out. Obviously, in the training camp, it was this challenge and the Shokugeki at the end. But as far as the plot advancing, it actually goes by pretty slowly.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It doesn't quite blaze through from arc to arc, like you'd expect a shonen to.
So does that feed into the comfy?
That probably feeds into the comfy, yes.
Most importantly, though, it does it without filler.
So far,
yes. We'll see how that goes. Let me just ask Shellblade, since you weren't around in the last discussion for this, were you not at all perturbed at the conclusion of the first round of the autumn elections, I think it's called? What ends the first core, when they cut to 8 contestants and the audience knows 7 of them and nobody asks about the 8th and their identity?
Oh, okay. Yes, he is a manga. He's a character that was introduced in the manga.
But he wasn't introduced until after that point.
Yes. So, I guess we just never saw him in the anime, right?
Yeah, he's never spoken of, never alluded to. He's never shown on that scoreboard they keep cutting to.
I believe he is a black man with a Japanese name, because Soma does that thing that anime does, where there are tons of half Japanese people who only have foreign traits.
Well, I mean, a lot of people in that show come from foreign countries to that school, though.
No, I know, but I'm just
They
saying,
should
yeah,
look
they
more
have
foreign.
Yeah. No, so they should look less foreign.
Oh, right. Sorry, I misread.
Yeah. But yes, I believe they have this half black man who is
But-
the
The point is that now that the anime is informed by the existence of future manga chapters,
Mhm.
they should take the less audience jarring route and at least mention this guy beforehand. But this is a criticism of the show and not a criticism of its comfiness. So maybe this isn't the right time.
it might be the wrong platform for it. So
Yes.
yes, that was a blunder on their part. What wasn't a blunder on their part was the immense comfiness.
And I could not agree more.
All right.
You tied it up well in the end.
All right, I guess I'll go next.
Okay, go ahead, Mule.
Okay. In light of Collin's attempt at comfy revolution, I'm going to try a neoclassical example of comfy.
Oh,
What
God.
does this mean? What did he mean by this?
I mean a show that was was considered as too comfy for funk, and that is Umaru-chan,
Oh.
Oh,
my
okay.
comfiest show of the season or year. Now, I have to say, what I found so incredibly comfy about this show is just watching Umaru's perpetual, selfish, awful antics, and her trying to basically just use her brother to just get things for her, and just lays about the house perpetually. It was easily the most relaxing show, probably partly because of that, and partly because of just the slow, plodding pacing of every single episode that just tied into it. And her character just kind of made the show work in that sense, because she's such this kind of hyperactive yet incredibly sedentary character that it just filled me with joy, and kind of a sense of ease every single time I tuned in to watch it.
Fair enough.
And that's it.
It's got
Okay.
a likable cast and everything.
Well,
I can see why.
But it was
I just okay.
Oh,
Can
go
I
ahead,
just
Matt.
add
No, go
something?
ahead.
Okay. Because if it weren't for another show, this would probably also be for me my comfiest one, because it's just a really nice. I actually really liked the show, which was very surprising for me.
Mhm.
I was not expecting a show that involved so much shit posting to actually be as good as it ended up being, and me enjoying it as much as it was. It's just a very cute show. All the characters have a decent amount of character development, and just all the show has a lot of kind of friendliness to it.
Mhm.
All the characters are none of the characters are necessarily I guess Umaru herself is kind of mean at times, but like Mule said, over the course of the show, you do see her changing. I think one of the episodes that was especially a good example of that was when her brother puts all this work into preparing this meal with these peppers in it in order so that she can eat healthier.
Mhm.
And then she kind of realizes how much work that he's really doing to help him, and then she ends up eating it, and it's just that all moment. It's just very cute, and it does add a lot. It does add a lot of comfiness to the show. So.
Yeah, it's
There
a
it
show for
is.
fucking
There.
babies.
Well, I'll go off from there. I do have a couple honorable mentions I want to get to before I get to my comfiest anime of the year. One of those would be Yuri Sanhai, which, while incredibly comfy, I came more for the laughs than the comfy. It's a better show than what ended up winning this category for me, but I just wanted to include it. And also, the Funk's winner, the Gourmet Girls Graffiti. This show is on my list despite the fact that I dropped it, and I think I dropped it because it may have been too comfy, to the point where it was actually kind of boring for me. But I cannot deny the amount of love and comfy that went into that show. But the winner, as with the past two people who've gone in this category, is Umaru-chan.
Haha.
And like, so before you guys got into this whole discussion about defining what comfy was, this was like kind of like trying to explain why this one for me was kind of a difficult thing to do, because comfy is, at least I thought it was, a very nebulous thing that's difficult to describe.
It still is.
Yes, but like, I guess more than anything, it's like the feeling that the show gave me. And one thing I'll say about it, and I don't know if I touched on this during the summer podcast when we talked about it, but I didn't watch this show week to week. I marathoned it at the end of the season. And the reason I bring this up is I don't know if this is kind of endemic to like watching the show in such a short amount of time. But when I finished the show, I kind of had like a real sense of emptiness from not having any more of it to watch. I didn't want it to end. And I guess now that I think of it, I don't know if there was another show I watched this year that I watched every episode of it like having a smile on my face, quite like this show did to me. So I guess if I had to describe comfy, Umaru is comfy.
Is this podcast sponsored by Cola and chips?
Steve, I'll have you know that I did the same thing, and when the pizza episode came up, I ordered a pizza and just watched the rest of the show,
Right?
happy as a clam.
That was just like that episode of Soma where they had the fried chicken, and it got me hooked on fried chicken. I could not watch Soma without ordering chicken.
I just want to say, I actually think
Isn't that the chicken that messed you up?
The chicken did not mess me up, Ken.
Okay.
I was good. Go ahead, Matt.
I actually think I may have kind of misspoke, or you might have misinterpreted what I said. Umaru-chan is not actually my comfiest of the year.
What was?
God?
Ori Monogatari.
Did you bring that up? Oh, you brought that up earlier in the podcast.
I brought it up earlier.
Okay, so I got confused on that then. I'm sorry.
But I just want to say, like, kind of in the same way that you said it, like, Ori Monogatari just gave me this feeling inside that was just so. It gives me like this kind of very, like, every episode gave you like this kind of very fluffy, happy, and just like, well, comfy feeling inside. And it is a show that honestly makes you kind of want to go out and like actually get a significant other.
I don't know about that.
It just made it like feel like the whole. I don't know. It also made you almost like want to just go out and hug somebody. It's very. It was
with their consent, cute. Of course.
Yes, of course.
We don't promote non-consensual hugging here
because that would of course be rape.
I mean, if you ask some people on Twitter, it would be.
By today's standards.
There's nothing comfy about rape.
Kenny,
What?
It's your job to follow that up.
For comfiest anime?
Yes.
No, comfiest rape.
Yeah, okay. Well, Funk's gonna kill me. Is The Order of Rabbit is my comfiest anime.
Oh my god.
Another show that's too comfy for Funk.
Problem, Funk?
I'll get into that later. You can have the floor in the interest of time.
I don't know what there is to talk about, but just like... Okay, whatever. Moving on. Okay. Honorable mentions, Nanan Biori and Kinura Mosaic, which I can't believe you didn't mention, Funk.
Yeah. That's my response to that.
Like, if you would just like list shows that would seem like the comfy trilogy of the year.
Yes, I agree with that. Those are the prototypical comfy numbers that one would expect. But I don't know. Kinura Mosaic is more hectic than the other ones as far as the antics go.
I do love antics.
I know you do, fam. So it loses a little bit of comfy points in that regard. But I didn't put too much thought into the honorable mentions, to be honest. Once as soon as I saw the category, I was like, "Yep, I know who's winning this."
Frank?
All right, I have two honorable mentions of this. I have Osomatsu because I literally cannot watch that show without laughing. Like, it's I don't know if it's necessarily comfy, but I definitely think that it's
really enjoyable, and it's something that I can just sit down when I'm in a bad mood and just put it on and probably laugh throughout the whole entire thing. My other honorable mention, the one that nobody else watched, is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because
How can JoJo be comfy?
no, it's hear me out. I think for me, why JoJo was so comfy wasn't so much the show as much as it was the routine of me, actually getting together with a group of friends and sitting around on a Friday night and just watching the newest JoJo episode and just getting so hyped whenever Jotaro just did this crazy shit with Star Platinum. Or,
That sounds almost as gay as JoJo.
no, it's JoJo is. Let me tell you, it is probably the most homoerotic anime out there. But
You don't have to tell us.
Well-
we're aware of the fan base and its show.
but
Even when
it's-
free exists.
it's utterly fantastic in every regard, and it's so entertaining. Like, I can't watch that show without getting hyped up whenever he just beats the shit out of a guy. Because Jotaro is just the most stoic motherfucker, but he'll just put up with so much bullshit. Like, there's one episode where he's gambling with this dude, and he's getting dealt with, and he's looking for cheating, and he just breaks this guy's finger out of nowhere because he's like second dealing him, and then he gets his hand dealt to him, and he doesn't even look at the cards. And the whole entire thing is basically just him straight up bluffing to this guy because he's like, could he have possibly looked at the cards that fast with Star Platinum? And he's faking him out so hard. And Jotaro's just got this stoic look on his face, and it's so entertaining to watch. I can't really describe it doing it justice because every episode is just so radically different, but it's always entertaining to me, and I really enjoy it. But my comfiest pick is probably Nisekoi Collin, because I really enjoyed Nisekoi Collin. From a story standpoint, what?
Just saying the name of the show over and over is fucking hilarious.
That's the name of it. Like,
I know.
Whatever. Nisekoi season 2. Not much really happened story-wise in regards to it, but it did everything that the first season did in terms of how pretty the aesthetics are and the colors. Shaft did a really magnificent job animating it. I know Funk was given some props to Shaft before. I'm gonna double down on that and say they did a really good job with it. Yeah, I am down as fuck with Shaft. Aesthetically, they're fantastic, and the color palette is so vibrant, and right when you look at it, you can just tell that this is gonna be pretty comfy. Story-wise, it's a lot of people said that it's kind of a filler season because there isn't really much progression in terms of the plot, but a lot of the story arcs in that season were, they were pretty feel good. There was a whole arc around Christmas time revolving around Chitoge and her mom getting back together and reuniting after having a pretty rocky relationship. Onodera got her due. There was even a little bit of Onodera's little sister in there after her being teased around a little bit, and it was just a show that you can watch and just turn your brain off and just kind of enjoy it in terms of these crazy harem antics. Even though at the end of the day, it really is about the love triangle between Raku, Chitoge, and Onodera, and it's a fun watch. You can think about it, and you can pick your waifu or whatever, and choose who wins the Nisekoi Bowl, this, that, the other thing. But at the end of the day, it's a good watch, and it's a really relaxing show if you want to just sit back and enjoy yourself.
All right, good job, Frank.
Thank you.
Not my name.
Listen, it's not the first time that's happened. Get names that start with a letter other than F, please.
Right.
I'm sorry, everything became F, Steve.
Hey, okay, so next category is most artistic anime of the year, and Matt has been chosen to lead this one off. So Matt, why don't you give us your pick?
Okay, so I really only have one choice I could really pick for this because it's the only one I could think of that I could really categorize as art, and that is Euphonium.
Okay, Roger Ebert.
Well, like out of a lot, like most anime in general, like I don't think I've ever seen a show that has so much attention to detail and like such high quality art and like directing.
You know you're watching a KyoAni anime, right?
I'm new to this.
Okay.
I'm
Well, it
relatively
doesn't
new to
matter.
this.
Kenny, calm down.
But like just like I normally don't notice these types of things in shows, but like things like just the camera angles that they were used, all like there's a lot of like little quick cuts to like a hand or like a part of their body or something, or that like, and it'll like show it for like a split second and cut away to like something else. Like the way it does all these little subtle things, the animation, the like even like the way they all play their instruments and everything is just really incredibly well done. And the music itself, like all the detail in the music, how they intentionally play badly and make it clear that they're playing badly in order to emphasize their progression over the course of the show. It's like they put a lot of hard work into this show, and it shows. Well, yeah. And and yeah, it is really amazing. They put a lot of heart and soul into it.
Yeah, I made the comment before that choosing a KyoAni anime is almost cheating for this category. I mean, it's fine that you picked it, and it's totally acceptable. But like, almost all their shows pretty much look like that. So,
and they look great.
They all look absolutely fantastic. Euphonium is my pick as well, and I did feel like it was cheating. And I'm not even entirely familiar with a lot of the stuff that KyoAni did, but Euphonium is that good. There's a lot of great use of. I guess I'd have to say simulated lighting since it's not actual lighting, but great use of bloom effects, I guess, and just every single frame of Euphonium exudes warmth. It's kind of tough to describe, really, but it feels homely.
Would you say it's dense?
I don't think homely is the word you're looking for.
Homely is not the word I'm looking for. No. But it's...
Homey, maybe?
Homey, yes. Homey is the word I'm looking for. It's almost... It would almost be comfy, but it's a bit too much on the drama side.
Yeah,
to actually be categorized as such. But goddamn, is it pretty. Although I did have a runner-up, and... This is one that's going to go ignored by all of you because none of you watched it, but Lupin the Third is a gorgeous-looking show. A lot of great backdrops. Every character design in the show is very distinct. Guys, the show's still airing right now in Japan. If you've got time, we might be able to discuss it on the next one.
Because are there like 4 new series of Lupin though? Like
this is, I mean, I haven't watched a single Lupin series prior to this.
Because I was interested in one. I don't think it was the last one. I think it was the one before the last one, and I was really interested in watching it, but I never got around to it.
But like, yeah, no, you can watch this without watching any Lupin prior to this. I mean, there's probably some callbacks that you miss, but otherwise you're fine.
Maybe I'll give it a shot then.
Lastly, I wanted to just make a quick mention of Seraph. Which also, hey, hold on, it has some really, really nice backdrops, and then squanders their artist's talent in the second cour when they just go with urban destruction backdrops for like the entirety of it, and it was really disappointing.
Well, is that the last one you want to mention?
That's it.
Okay, because I want to leapfrog off that because Seraph is one of my honorable mentions. For the exact same reason, like excellent use of background art. I also wanted to mention, honorable mention, Kekai Sensen. It's just a show that like oozes style all over the place. Which I'm still sad that I didn't finish, and maybe someday I'll go back and finish it.
Well, they finally aired the last episode. So.
They did.
After 4 fucking months.
After 3,000 years. And lastly, honorable mention to One Punch Man for just having terrific art and like fantastically animated battle sequences. I just think that deserves special mention. But my most artistic anime of the year is Punchline. So there are a couple things I wanted to mention here. For starters, I don't think Punchline's like visual aesthetic is entirely unique. In fact, I think there's like a few shows this year that kind of look similar to it. But I just kind of love the entire package of what it was visually, from like character design, color palette, just well animated in general. That stuff all worked for me and just kind of like tied its universe together in a neat way visually. But this may kind of go beyond the scope of what this category is supposed to mean. But I also really loved how like tightly put together the entire series was. The show has like a ton of different moving parts, like in terms of story beats and the like crazy stuff that's actually going on in the show. But it's constructed in such a way that like none of that is ever confusing. The plot twists are doled out in a very like digestible rate. So even by the time you get more into the show and the truly crazy shit is starting up, none of that ever feels out of place. So I do think there's some artistic merit that the show deserves credit for in terms of like constructing a entire anime from beginning to end that feels complete. That's basically all I wanted to say on it.
Nice. Neat.
Coolio.
Can I take over from here,
Yes,
Steve?
go ahead.
So I have a few honorable mentions. First is Euphonium. I don't have anything else to add that hasn't already been said, but I fully agree with everything that the other guys have covered. Next, I wanted to mention Rolling Girls, which, despite an abysmally animated final episode, I felt its art was its strongest suit throughout. It had a very nice flower power-esque kind of effects suite going on.
That first episode was phenomenal in terms of that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think it fell off dramatically after the first episode.
No, but I just, like, compared... I think that's the primary example of that.
True, but I do think of other scenes, like the race through that one town that had a lot of the same visual flair. The one concert put on, I think, in the third arc, where they were playing those shamisen, man. Oh, that was awesome. But all those, like, each arc, the climax was just this smoothly, so well animated, so over the top. Not always an action scene, but very visually interesting. And it was my favorite part of the show. And last honorable mention is Ranpo Keaton, which I talked at length about in the podcast about it, but there was a lot of clear thought put into blocking and direction during scenes that were otherwise just dialogue, which is a very difficult thing to make visually interesting, and I felt that they were able to do that throughout the run of the entire series, which I very much commend. And they did it in unique and creative ways that I'm going to remember for a long time to come. I like this show a lot more than anybody else here, I believe, but I fell in love with the art and I still love it. But the most artistic anime of the year, I would actually give to Saikano, which I think Matt was talking about direction with Euphonium, and I think that the show had I don't want to say near perfect, that's hyperbole, but it had extremely good direction. As you're watching the show, the character of I forget her name, but like the normal girl, the one who's the protagonist of the game,
Megami?
Yes. You notice that more and more shots are blocked to exclude her from the shot or to hide her face. Just it never focuses on her, just to highlight the fact that she has zero presence or personality. But it's very subtle in how it does it. Like, I didn't catch on for a few episodes into the series, and it's never done in a obtuse way. Like, the shot still looks good, even though one of the characters talking is just half in it or excluded from it entirely. That takes some talent right there. But the show has a habit of, like, when it cuts to a character, there'll be a filter put on the screen of, like, just one flat color, like a red or green or blue. And it always looks nice. And the way that the borders or the lines are drawn on the characters that pop with that color, while everything else is just kind of filled in with it, is very aesthetically pleasing. And I distinctly remember those shots months after seeing the show. I thought that was very good. I thought that the intro and the outro were just as well animated, but in different styles than you see throughout the show proper. And one thing, I think the reason I came down hard on the show is that there is a decent amount of fan service, but which I'm generally not a fan of. But once I separate myself from that, the fan service is actually pretty well framed. Not gonna lie, it's not exactly done tastefully, because a lot of it is very clear fan service.
But did it service you?
No, but it's the director had two goals: to put fan service in and to have good shots, and both of those were fulfilled to the nth degree. So I can't pick a problem with the visuals of that show. I'm thoroughly impressed with it as I remember it, and I'm surprised because I keep saying, I was not that big on the show before, but it's impressed me in hindsight. So most artistic for the year for me.
All right, yeah, I didn't have that on my list, but like I totally agree with those reasonings. Very very good, well directed show for sure. I think that was one of the takeaways we had when we discussed it, like all the way back in the winter season.
Yeah, that was aired at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Frank?
Let's see. I mentioned Nisekoi Collin already because it has a really vibrant color palette, and I think aesthetically it just really puts you in a comfy place. I don't know if I would necessarily call it the most artistic anime of the year, because Euphonium is also really good with that kind of thing in terms of the shots that it does. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does that too. And Death Parade also has a very interesting stylistic choice when it comes to the way they frame shots and the colors that they use. Your Lie in April also probably doesn't count in this regard because it started in the fall, but the presentation was really strong in the second half, which aired in the winter, in terms of the way they framed the performances. Musically, it was phenomenal. And I think they did a very fantastic job. But my choice for most artistic anime of the year would probably have to go to, in terms of pure aesthetics and the visuals and sound-wise, everything, I would probably say Unlimited Blade Works is my choice. Because that show, in terms of the way it looked, in terms of the way the fights were choreographed, for the most part, it was all visually stunning. Content-wise, I have my own share of gripes with it, but I can't deny that UFOtable did a fantastic job animating it for the most part. A lot of the keyframes are utterly stunning. The use of the CG, while not gratuitous, is used very tastefully, especially in regards to Saber stuff. Basically, it just capitalized really well on everything the first season did and just amped it up to 11 to a really great job. And you can tell that the budget was just through the roof for it. I did a really great job.
For sure, yeah. Kenny.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us what show you think was the most artistic this year?
Show and tell.
Why did you sigh?
It hurts, but I have to agree with Frank. Unlimited Blade Works.
Why does that hurt? Oh, because you're mortal enemies. I forgot.
Yes. No,
A tale of two love lives.
I swear to God, if you speak those words again.
Here comes the plane threat.
Ready or not.
Go ahead, Kenny.
No, it's just I mean, I played the VN, and it just watching it animated in such a way, for the first time is just pretty awesome. Just seeing that other side of the story is amazing. So, I mean, whatever. I just have to agree with Frank 100%. I mean, there's nothing really else that can be said.
We're never going to hear Kenny say that again. I agree with Frank 100%.
No, you won't.
Pat myself on the back.
Good job, Frank.
He actually did it, the madman. All right, Mule, you're last up for this category. Show us what you got.
All right. Honorable mentions. Ranpo Keaton, obviously for reasons already explained. Unlimited Blade Works for reasons already explained. Concrete Revolutio as an honorable mention because first off, the color palette is strikingly beautiful in how clean it is and how bright and how wonderfully everything pops in. And also because of the way the show is oriented story-wise through its non-linear storytelling, it really worked for me, personally. For most artistic, though, I'm going to go with Owari Monogatari.
Really?
Yeah. Initially, I wasn't so sure if I was going to choose this for my most artistic show, but watching over it again, it just works emotionally for me on every level because the way the show handles character interactions is great in that it typically has the visuals convey the emotion of the character at the moment. Like, when one character's asking another, like, a certain, like, piercing question, you'll see that one character wrap around the other, kind of like a snake. There's moments where the character's outlines just, like, fluctuate rapidly as one character is being confronted by another. It's just really a stunning thing to watch and really just kind of a joy for me personally. And that's it.
Would you say it lived up to the previous series?
I would absolutely say that.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant Ore. Sorry.
How many times are we gonna make this fucking mistake?
I mean, they're very similar shows, Funk.
Yeah, I mean that's why I reacted the way I did when you said that. I was like, what?
Okay, so that wraps up most artistic anime of the year. Next up will be best guilty pleasure anime of the year, and this is gonna be the last category for this part of the podcast. Since we're going pretty long, we're gonna split this into two. So,
isn't this like part 4?
Feels like it.
I mean, in terms of like one released podcast.
I mean, Steve, this is only hour 3.
Okay. Oh, I understand.
We still have 5 more categories after this. We're not getting it done tonight, so.
I mean, we can get more done tonight, but you can put them into the next part if you'd like.
Yeah.
Well, some of us have to work in the morning, Collin.
I mean,
we better just to start fresh tomorrow.
We're coming undone.
Okay, so best guilty pleasure anime of the year, and it's my pleasure to take this category.
Hey!
Yeah. So honorable mentions: Triage X for excellent boobs. Testament of Sister New Devil, also excellent boobs. And finally, last honorable mention: the secret best guilty pleasure anime of the year. My Wife is the Student Council President.
Fuck off.
You watched that?
Kenny, how many times are we gonna go over this? Yes, I watched it.
Sorry.
It was hilarious and it was guilty.
Was
But
it
the winner.
What was it? Your guilty crown?
No,
I was about to make that joke, you fucking savage.
You've never watched Guilty Crown. You weren't there. That's me and Kenny's flag anime. But winner of this category is Valkyrie Drive Mermaid. So I didn't get time to talk about this on the fall podcast since we were going long, so I guess this is as good a place as any for this discussion. Valkyrie Drive is the Citizen Kane of trashy fan service anime. And I'm not joking.
I'm not sure if that's a comparison that can be made.
I'm making it. So as kind of flimsy as the premise of this show is, in terms of just like being an excuse for girls to declothe and arouse one another, there's actually more to this show than that, believe it or not. And I'm sure you won't believe me, but I'm telling you anyways. This anime has an actual story and has actual characters, and I actually got fucking emotionally invested in what was going on beyond the fan service.
Listen to him, because
It was a really fun watch. Obviously, the show does not go anywhere near what a better anime would do in terms of like a lot of the issues it brings up. But in going back to the guilty pleasure aspect of it, I don't know if I've ever seen an anime that crams this many fetishes into like 12 episodes. And even just beyond that, this show has probably the best animated breasts of any anime I have ever seen.
No, like Steve, the production values in such a, like an anime like this, like
Yeah,
I've never.
This is the closest thing you'll get to a hentai with a budget. Like, I was genuinely surprised how much money they seemingly stunk into this. Not even in terms of fan service, even like the non-fan service stuff where they were just like fighting, that was well animated too.
It was.
But like the boobs. Okay, so let's talk about this.
Just watch the opening theme.
There is a like if you like small boobs, there's that here for you. If you like big boobs, there's plenty of that. If you like impossibly sized boobs, there's a character for you too. If you like giantess-sized boobs, believe it or not, this show has it too. And not even just talking about size. Like, if you want to talk nipples, you got all shapes, sizes, and colors of nipples in this show. It's not just the same stock nipple pasted over each and every breast in the show. Characters have inverted nipples. One character has one inverted nipple and one non-inverted nipple.
Steve has officially done his homework.
I think you can all understand why I picked this as best guilty pleasure of the year. This
No,
anime.
I can't, Steve. I can't imagine you feeling at all guilty about this.
This anime is from the creator of the Senran Kagura series, and you might call this his magnum opus. It is that good.
Well, it's Hits Her Life and Ash's hometown, right?
Yes, and there's plenty of all of that in this show.
Ridiculous.
If you've got something you like sexually, you can find it in this show. I guarantee you.
You know,
Fucking crazy.
I started watching fucking Japanese trash with the expectation that I would get serious, stimulating discussion out of it once per season. And instead, here we are, dedicating time to Valkyrie Drive, Mermaid.
2 years we've been doing this podcast. It is all built up to this.
Ridiculous.
I also want to call out Mule for that excellent joke in the chat, Magnum Opie. Well done. That's it. That's my piece on Valkyrie Drive.
Well done,
Get outta
Steve.
here.
You earned your keep as resident Steve. I don't know. I'll go next. Biggest guilty pleasure anime. There was really only one choice the whole year for me, and that was Denpa Kyoshi. This show was terrible. It has no redeeming qualities. Its existence makes other shows worse by proxy.
That's the one that you and DL were watching, right?
Yes, and this is where we enter guilty pleasure. So I watched one, maybe 2 episodes and was done with it because it was complete and utter trash. I can't overstate how the show failed in every regard, from art to music to voice acting to writing to just anything you could think of. Like, characters weren't even on model half the time. It's ridiculous. But watching the show with somebody else is hilarious. It is one of the most fun times I've had watching anime, and every episode is just a fucking ride once you have somebody to commiserate with about it. It's just amazing. And I just had a great time with it. If enjoyment was a gradient, on one end would be watching Denpa Kyoshi alone, and on the other end would be watching Denpa Kyoshi with others.
That's perfect.
So I have no qualms about this, but I definitely recognize that it has no redeeming qualities as art, as entertainment, or as trash. So,
would you say watching this show was more or less enjoyable than when you watched the Flag anime with Kenny?
oh man, that's rough. That's so hard. I think the Flag anime had less to laugh at. So while I thoroughly enjoyed Kenny's company, we were working with even more difficult material.
Didn't we only watch like the OVA together?
That's true. We mainly just talked after watching it on our own, but the OVA, which was by far the worst episode,
That was pretty fucking bad.
we did watch that together.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing I like about this category is I left it kind of open to interpretation, and I think everyone's going to have a different interpretation of what best guilty pleasure means. So who wants to step up next?
I guess
I
I'll
got
go.
Oh, or Mule got it.
Go ahead, Mule.
Okay. So my pick for biggest guilty pleasure was Heavy Object.
Ooh.
Because this show failed in every conceivable way. The characters were entirely unengaging and one-dimensional. The plot was repetitive as fuck. The show didn't even look that great, and I wasn't a huge fan of the music either. But I couldn't stop watching it. And
you
at all.
still can't because
Yeah.
it's still going.
Yeah, and I can't stop watching it. It's it's a failure of a show in every single sense I can think of, but I just enjoy watching it the entire time for some reason. And that's it.
I feel exactly the same. I'm still watching it for some reason that I can't explain.
Body flute suits.
Oh, there's some really dumb thing they did in the latest episode, but I can't remember, so I won't bring it up.
Was it the two characters somehow taking down the giant war machine with just their wits and their guile?
You know what? That's probably it. Frank, go ahead.
All right. I got JoJo's is my runner-up because it's
God
fucking.
damn it, Frank.
What?
You
How
can't.
many
You
times
can't.
have you brought that motherfucking show up in this
But
podcast?
it's so good.
How do
It's
you
so
wait? Why is
fucking
it
good.
guilty if you like everything about it?
I love everything about it, but it's so fucking ridiculous, and I can't bring myself to really recommend it to other people because it's so out there, and
It's the My Little Pony of anime.
it's so much better than that. Like I am offended that you would say that.
I see. Like I thought you were gonna say, Frank, that it's guilty pleasure because you love the anime, but you hate the fan base that you're a part of.
I do. That's the other reason. Like
So that's
I
what I mean by
literally
that.
I cannot stand the people that won't stop screaming about this fucking show because I'm afraid they're going to venture out and find, you know, all of the fucking horrible things that come out of this fandom. But it is what it is. But my true guilty pleasure is Yuri Arashi.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god!
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to explain this one.
Okay, so did you guys watch Yuri Arashi?
I watched 2
one
episodes,
episode.
the first episode and the last episode.
Okay, the first 2 episodes are pretty weak. The series as a whole is pretty fucking out there, and I cannot in good faith recommend it to that many people, but it's honestly not terrible. Like, yeah,
it's bad.
the first 2 episodes are
No,
bad.
it's bad.
And then it gets
just
like
stop talking. Seriously.
Well, it has higher than a 6.
yeah,
That fucking means a lot.
as it progressed, it got a little better, but it's you know what, it is what it is. I
Lesbian bear storm.
yeah, like, you know what, it tried to do the Ryukashi thing that he did with Higanbana, where he tried to make like an anti-bullying narrative, but Ikuhara did like some kind of crazy fucking lesbian shit in there too, because you know he's
Frank.
doing like the invisible storm and whatnot, and it's like, all right, whatever, man. It's so weird, and it's so pretentious, and it's so bad, but something about it just kind of drew me in, and I really couldn't stop until I reached the end.
Was it the Yuri?
No, it wasn't the Yuri, actually.
Yeah, because I was gonna say you don't have to like this show just because it's Yuri. There are better examples.
No, yeah, of course.
Or this year, I can offer one. It's called Valkyrie Drive.
Oh my god!
Yes.
No, but it's very flowery and it's really cool. It's trash, but I enjoyed it to a degree.
It's your trash.
Yeah, right.
Into the trash it goes.
Right,
Please.
right.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Collin.
Hi, yeah, it's me. So, guilty pleasure. I was very close to putting Showman's Sample up as my guilty pleasure of the year. But one, I don't think I derived enough pleasure from it. And two,
trolling us.
Yeah, and two, I feel like if I'm gonna have something as my guilty pleasure, I need to be more willing to defend it. And I'm not really willing to defend Showman's Sample to the likes of you, because
What does that mean?
as in people with taste.
Oh my god!
Are
I
you
still
fucking kidding me?
cannot
Are
believe
you
that show is
fucking
a thing.
kidding?
What? No, what? No, I watched the show. I said it was okay, but my actual guilty pleasure of the year is Anti-Magic, because this show is a total mess, and just
Not Con Revo.
Con Revel's not a guilty pleasure. Con Revel's fucking awesome.
You know, you're like
Conroe's
one of
just
the
a
only
pleasure.
people with that opinion, though.
Yeah. What? Oh no, suck my dick, dude. So anti-magic, and it's just like it's just a terrible adaptation of material that's really solid, and you can see the little grains, the little nuggets of gold somewhere in this mess. Especially when it comes to characterization, which is very strong for everyone except the sword, who is completely forgotten about.
The sword's a character?
The sword is a character, yes. The sword is a lolly. So, there you go.
So she's the best.
Is she 10,000 years old?
She might be. I'm not quite sure.
I don't think they stated.
I don't think she is. Depends on how old the guy who made her is, and I'm not sure if he is supposed to be immortal or not. But I don't know. Read the fucking light novels, because they're decent, or they're solid. You know, they're good.
Reading light novels.
You know, they skip out on all the world building in the show. They gloss over so much. It's simultaneously disappointing and intriguing, because you want to know what went wrong, and you want to know, well, I like them. I like a lot of what they're working with. I want to look into more, and that's what happened with me. I looked into the supplemental material, and I ended up enjoying it. So, Anti-Magic is definitely my guilty pleasure of the year. Sorry to Showman Sample. You are what you are.
You don't have to apologize ever to Showman Sample. Speaking of Showman Sample, Kenny.
What?
You're Showman Sample guy.
What about it?
It's your turn to do this fucking category.
The implication there is that Kenny would pick Showman Sample, but Kenny just sincerely enjoys Showman Sample and would never call it a guilty pleasure.
He might. I don't know.
What do you want to hear about it?
I want to hear what your answer is to the category.
It's my guilty pleasure. What else is...
No, is the answer actually Showman Sample?
Maybe.
I called it.
I think you
Okay,
bullied him
go
into
on.
saying Showman Sample, though.
I literally have nothing else to say.
Is your guilty pleasure how bad it makes me knowing that you like this show?
Yes.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Okay. All right. I guess it's my turn.
Hey, it's
Yep.
Matt.
Go ahead. Matt.
So yeah, I already kind of said this before, but mine's Umaru-chan.
Really?
Because
Really?
It's a guilty pleasure.
it's a guilty pleasure because I feel like
Does
this
hamster
is
posting?
Because it's a meme. It's a meme show.
it's a meme show, and because like I feel almost like I shouldn't like this show because it is very anime.
That means you're
But-
in it now. You can't get out.
But despite all that, I found it incredibly enjoyable, and it's not like a laugh out loud show, but it's just very. I had a good time watching it, and I watched the whole thing in one day. So
I remember Funk being amazed that I could pull that off in 2 and you did it in 1.
Yeah, it's... I would kill myself before I watched 12 episodes of that in a day. And I liked it.
So yeah,
Just-
that's my pick, and I would almost want to kind of say Ore Monogatari just because it's a romance, and I typically hate romance, but I feel like it's too good for it to really be guilty because it is actually just legitimately good.
So you'd say it's guilty of being too good?
Yes, sure.
Guilty of not giving a fuck.
Kenny, we are. I know you want to go to bed. I know you got another big day coming up tomorrow.
God,
Well-
shut up, Steve.
Don't we all?
Apparently we do, because this is gonna wrap up part 1 of our year in review podcast. I don't
Our
think
first
any of us.
ever 2-part podcast.
Yes.
Sorry, Omega.
We were making history here.
Can you
I don't
imagine
think-
his surprise when he gets to the end of this one and hears there's a part 2? Sees like the 4-hour time code and then
Yeah.
part 2.
Yeah, I guess just as a preview, like coming up on the next one, we got most disappointing anime, we got favorite anime character of the year, we got most surprising anime of the year, we got worst anime of the year, and of course, we got our best anime of the year lists. So there's still plenty to talk about, but unfortunately, you'll have to hang on till next time.
Be there or be square. Thank you.
Collin?
Jesus, no, you can't just make me train whistle.
I didn't say anything about the train whistle.
Yes, train whistle, please.
Jesus.
You can give us the last words on this podcast, though.
Bye.